You're watching the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Ferguson for Bowles, hitting a three-point shot. There we go. At the Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational. And okay, that's the end of the half, right? Maybe not. Let's throw this thing up and see what happens. A buzzer beater. Creekside and Bowles playing in the Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. And we got plays like that. They're trying to get that one on Sports Center Top 10. What do you think, Hamby? You think that's worthy of a Top 10? I would say so. And the crazy thing about that is that young man just had a calm, cool reaction. Like, yeah, I've done that before. Hey, great stuff on the opening day of the Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational. Been talking about it for a while. Really excited to be doing it for the first time. Kind of the next step of where we are in the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, producing those broadcasts. And today, we get after it again, starting at 2 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Semifinal games will actually beef up and enhance the broadcast a little bit tonight at 6 and 8 o'clock. But we wanted to show those other games, too. And then tomorrow on Saturday, we'll do the third-place game at 5 and 7:15, the championship game. So, we had a lot of fun with it over at FSCJ. Some good hoops, some fun highlights. You can see some of them on social media. You'll be able to see all the games on replay. We've cut them down to 1-hour games, and you'll see them all on Saturday and Sunday and probably for weeks to come here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. And you know where to find that stuff. We did not put that on social media, by the way, and we didn't for a reason. We want you to find that on the network. Go to the network to find it out. That's on ActionNewsJacks.com, the Action News Jacks app, and, of course, Action News Jacks now on your smart TV. You can watch this show the same way, but we know you also consume it on social media. Good to have everybody on YouTube and Twitter, X, Twitch, Facebook, too. Brent Martineau here at Best Bet St. Augustine. Oh, just another busy day in our world with Action Sports Jacks, but it's great to be back here at Best Bet St. Augustine. It's been a little bit. I'm here. Austen Lane is in Tampa. He will join us a little bit later. He's cornering a fight tomorrow in the UFC in Tampa, and so he's busy with the weigh-ins and everything else today. He'll join us hopefully a little bit later on in the program. We've got picks. We've got more high school coach guests. We also are going to talk a little Navy, Army. I think we have to call it that way with our guests that we have coming on at 11 o'clock. And we will have a bunch of stuff on the way. Jason Hamby back in the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network Studios, and he just finished up Stadium Pulse. Kind of a quiet weekend in college football, right? A little calm before the storm. Of course, we do get that Army-Navy game tomorrow on CBS 47. But we really look forward to a week from today, Hamby, right? When it comes to college football, a lot of questions. Good show you guys just had, talking about the quarterback situations at Texas and Georgia. Of course, Oregon, can they stay undefeated? Can they go undefeated all the way through? Are they good enough? And now you can't have a hiccup because you lose and you're out. Or can we get a Cinderella? This is made like the NCAA tournament in college football. Can we get a Cinderella dancing a little bit deeper, Hamby?
Yeah, I just don't think that a Cinderella is going to be able to win 3 football games in this format. I would love to see it, obviously. If it I mean, actually, I take that back. I would not like to see it because that would mean that Georgia's out. My bad. But I don't think it's. I would love to see a team win 1 or 2 games, like Arizona State. Like they are this year's Cinderella. They were the seller of the Big 12. They've totally turned things around. Worst to first in a sense. But I just don't think they have the staying power and the talent up and down the roster to be able to win 3 football games.
Yeah, I probably not. Probably not. But I think if this is the year to do it, this is the year to do it. I mean, you get the Arizona State. Arizona State might be playing really well. I would tell you this. If South Carolina got in the way Arizona State got in, wouldn't more people be thinking, oh, they might be able to do it? I don't think Arizona State's getting that kind of love. SMU earned themselves a little bit of love with a close loss to Clemson. How about Clemson? They're not a Cinderella. They're a power, but they actually act a little bit like a Cinderella. They're one of the worst teams in the college football playoff, obviously ranked at number 12. So a lot of ways to look at this. And then Boise State. Can Boise State hang? They obviously will get the bye early on. So I think the college football playoff is a lot of fun. We'll talk about it a bunch going on into next week. And then, of course, we have the NFL and your Jacksonville Jaguars, and kind of a quiet week around here. Isn't it funny, Hamby? When the Jags win a football game, it gets quiet. Like all the noise of this season. And when you win a game in December, that gets you to 3-10. it's like, okay, now what? Like, what did that mean? Is that good? Is that bad? Is like, there are really not a lot of storylines left with this football team of how to fix it, or, hey, can we watch Trevor grow? The only real thing going on here is you can't talk enough about Brian Thomas Jr. And you get a great matchup this week with Sauce Gardner and the corners of the New York Jets. But you just can't talk enough about Brian Thomas Jr. There also is the Trayvon Walker watch to get the double digits, keep ascending. I think that's an important one. Josh Hines-Allen getting that franchise record. Outside of milestones and feeling a little bit better about a couple wins here or there, more inside the building probably than outside the building. Isn't it amazing how minimal the storylines are with 4 games to go for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
And there's almost nothing to talk about because it's so many people are like me and probably like you as well. We're not ready to talk draft. We're just not. The disappointment of this season is too great for us to already be there. So, yeah, other than Brian Thomas Jr., it's like, all right, one of the things that I want to see that we've talked about a lot on Tuesday is over these last 4 games, can the Jaguars figure out their run game? Can they figure out exactly what they want to do going into next season? What the split, what the most advantageous split, not just any split, but what the most advantageous split between Tank Bigsby and ETN can be going into next year? Who can they really depend on as far as can they even give Tank more opportunities on third down? You're 3rd and 10. One thing that we've talked about a lot is, Tank not being in, Dearness Johnson being in on third down. It's just situations like that where can Tank get in on those situations, be a better pass catcher. That'll only help you next year. You've got to figure out a way for your almost B- players to become A's, right? Well, the best opportunity for them to do that is in a month like this where wins and losses, your fan base doesn't even really care whether you finish this year 5 and what would it be? 5 and 12 versus 6 and 11. Your fan base doesn't care. Can you get your B- players to improve to A's? Your guys like Tank and play on defense as well. Guys on offensive line, Anton, right? What are we going from Walker Litter? Can he improve? Stuff like that is what you're really just on the lookout for.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think all those things are individual things, and that's why guys keep battling. There's a lot to play for. Mac Jones has a heck of a lot to play for. I think Walker Little has stuff to prove still. I think Parker Washington has stuff. I mean, all these guys, whether it's milestones or just improved play for the next guy coming in or this coaching staff if they were to stay. I know that sounds blasphemous, but you never know. And I don't think now you can get momentum. See, the thing about it, if you go back a couple of weeks ago, I thought it was important for Trevor Lawrence to play. I thought he was the guy that could get momentum. Not only for him, change the storyline a little bit, build off something going into, keep that hope alive. Like, hey, this guy can do this. Well, that goes out the window, and so the other things that go out the window is it doesn't matter what the offense looks like because Trevor's not a part of it. Like, we're not talking about Mac Jones replacing Trevor. That ain't happening. Like, that's not a thing. So where are your storylines? Where are your storylines that you're going to hold on to in the spring and into August next year and say, okay, I saw this? But very individual. Very individual. It's Brian Thomas Jr. Again, does Mac Jones stay as a backup quarterback here in Jacksonville, or does he go get an opportunity? Like you said about Walker Little, he's the guy. The running back room is interesting. The reason why it's interesting to me is because we had Jaguars All Access last night. Jeff Logman's like, Tank Bigsby's the number 1 back. Like, that's it. Clear as day. Travis Etienne should be the 3rd down back. And I've been late to that party, to be honest with you, because I'm a big believer in Etienne, and I don't like to just turn on a dime in a week. But I will say, admittedly, and I think I did this earlier this week, Etienne does not look as explosive, as I don't know, as good, I guess, as I saw him the last couple of years at times. Now, you brought up a good point when we were having that conversation. Again, 4 touches. What are we seeing? I mean, it's really hard for a guy, a running back, especially, to get in a rhythm and for us to get a conclusion on him when he's touching it 4 times in the backfield. So I think that's a little part of it. but I also would admit that he doesn't look the same. I also don't know if I want to go as far as being like, wow, Bigsby looks a lot better. But Bigsby at times this year has looked really good. But even that has gone away because they still don't run the ball very well. He looked good on a couple of plays the other day, but so did ETN. Like, if you really think about that game on Sunday, 18 carries for Bigsby, 4 carries and 4 receptions for ETN. I would tell you that I can think of 2 really good runs by Bigsby that stick out, the touchdown run and the 4th and 2 run. Mm-hmm. And then I would tell you ETN had a really nice catch and run. That was a huge play and a dump down on a 3rd and 10. And then he also had a nice run, as I remembered. I think that might have gone for 8, 9, 10 yards. So they each had 2 really good plays. Like, that's all I remember. The different part is Bigsby got 18 carries and ETN 4 touches. So, although Log said that last night on our show, like, I appreciate the conviction. I'm just not as convicted. I don't know. I think Bigsby and ETN are both good. I don't know if one of them's great. Mm-hmm. And doesn't it feel like a little bit of the conversation when you have it around like quarterbacks that, hey, if you have 2, you really don't have any? Now, if you have 2 backs, that's not the case. It's not that you don't have any. But I think when you have 2 backs that we really don't know who the number 1 guy is, that means you don't have a number 1 guy.
Right.
I'm not sure the Jags have a number 1 guy right now in their backfield, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think in rhythm, because that goes back to rhythm. And if you have a number 1 guy, you got to get him in a rhythm, right? We literally talked about this in London when Tank had the 13 carries. He broke 100 yards for his first time in his career, still the first time that he's eclipsed that mark. And the sounds of the game, he was mic'd up, and he literally spent the whole first quarter talking about getting in a rhythm. Right, he had that funny quote. I forgot what it was. Man, what was that quote that he had?
That's right.
About not eating something right out of the. You got to put it on the microwave or something. Something crazy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's right.
But if that was the case for him, since the Green Bay game when he had 18 touches, there was the next 3, and again he was banged up. But there's been so many games where he's gotten 7 touches, 7 carries, 8 carries, 10. Like that guy feels like he's just that type of back. There are backs that just come in and are immediately explosive early in the football game, and there are backs that come in and seem to progressively get better as the game prolongs. They weigh on you, whether it's how they finish runs, right? Because Tank is a finisher. He runs through tackles. Yeah. He's not a fun guy to bring down. Those type of backs get better because defenders don't come downhill as fast as they did in the fourth quarter as they did in the first. Sometimes that's all you need, one of those situations, to break a big run. So I feel like just where's the momentum with these guys as well? Like, is Tank on the same track that he was earlier in the season when we threw up that graphic, remember, in after the Colts game, and he was all alone on that graph for yards per carry, right? And it seemed like, oh my gosh, we have our guy, right?
And 6.5 yards. Yeah.
It was crazy because he averaged, I think, let me see, I have it here. He averaged 13 a carry in the Houston game and then 8 against the Colts back-to-back weeks. And so everybody, obviously the people who kind of go overboard are like, oh my gosh, we got our number 1 guy. We don't even need ETN next year. And we all shot that down. But that's where we were. That's how the fans were, the trajectory that Tank was on. That's gone. And I get that Loggeman said that he's the number 1 guy. I'm not disproving that or disagreeing, but it's not the far and away, this is the only guy you need in the backfield next year type thing at all. And so I just felt like we've lost momentum for all of them.
Well, yeah, and I think the Jags have lost a lot of momentum. And I just, to go back to where we started with this topic, it's like there are more questions than answers. And the last 4 games are not going to really give you concrete answers. I think they could give you more answers if Trevor was a part of it. See, that's that 6-game stretch had importance for a bunch of different reasons. Maybe Trevor gets hot. Maybe that's more development. Maybe that's a feather in the cap of Doug. They figure it out. They just hit a rut. They couldn't win close games. all those things are now gone. Like, again, like we talked about it with Austen yesterday or 2 days ago. Sean probably has his mind made up. He should by now. Like, there's nothing to determine from the final 4 games on whether this regime should go forward. It doesn't matter the wins and losses. You're not even doing it with your quarterback. And you can't build any of those things that you're talking about with the running backs. I mean, even Gabe Davis and Kirk are out, so there's nothing to hang your hat on there. Like, Gabe Davis, I think, is going to be a part of this thing next year, but we're going to go into the season being like, are they going to get anything for their $13 million? Mm-hmm. Kirk, we'll see if he's even a part of it. Brian Thomas Jr., we know. Let's just have fun and watch Brian Thomas Jr. and see how many numbers he can put up and break the rookie record. Please stay healthy for 4 games so it's entertaining to watch you play football. Can the offensive line build something? That's probably the secret sauce here, is that because guess what? You don't like it. Most people don't like it. The offensive line is here to stay. Like, the offensive line is not going anywhere as it's constructed right now, I don't think. You could bring somebody else in, and maybe there's a move here or there, but it's not like this reclamation project. It is not going to be a remake of the offensive line. They're all under contract. I mean, they are going to most likely be here. With Mitch Morse, I think, is probably the one that probably has earned it the most to be here, and I think he's the guy that you probably could unload if needed. You probably do draft the center somewhere in this draft to start building that center position in a younger way. And then, of course, I say all of them. We also know Sheriff most likely isn't going to be here. This is probably it for him. So he's the one guy. But, I mean, still, you lose one guy off your offensive line. Basically, you're keeping that intact. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe they do lose 2. But Ezra Cleveland, the positions of Cleveland, Anton Harrison, and Walker Little are here. I kind of hope Mitch Morse is still here at this point. I don't want to see what's behind door number 2, quite frankly. But I guess you could make a move there. So maybe that's it, Hamby. I mean, the one thing you can say, when Trevor got hurt, that offensive line ramped things up. And if they could put together a few good games, they played a good Tennessee defense the other day, and they weren't terrible. They weren't great, but they weren't terrible. Mm-hmm. If they another tough interior this week, another tough defense this week, maybe they are the ones that could find a little momentum at the tail end of this year that you could lean on, because there are parts of this season where the offensive line I thought played excellent. Like, there was a stretch of 3-4 games where they were playing maybe some of the best football in the National Football League. It was like week 4 to 6 or 7. Sure. That was a small stretch. And remember, they turned it around because they started off horrendous. So maybe there is something to be said for more of that continuity on the offensive line going into next year. Maybe that is the one. Of course, I'm not even talking about defense because, honestly, I don't know what the defense is going to look like next year. I don't know who's going to be calling the plays. I don't know what style it's going to be. And I think you could have a lot of movement personnel-wise, because outside of the pass rushers and your young draft picks that you're invested in, and Tyson Campbell, I think there's a lot of debate on who's going to be running out there next September for this defense. So I don't really think there's much to hang your hat on. That comes back to the Brian Thomas stuff, more individual. Trayvon Walker, like, getting Trayvon Walker to like a dozen sacks, to me, would have some impact. Getting Josh Hines-Allen into double-digit sacks, and then I can sit here and say for the whole offseason, listen, Josh Hines-Allen didn't have 17.5 sacks like he did last year, but you look at all the other numbers. You go look at the Pro Football Focus numbers. You look at the pressures, the QB hits, what he does against the run, and then you also add in the fact that they never were in the lead this year, and they were on the field a bunch this year as a defense. I think you could come back to that and have an excuse of why he's down to 10 sacks instead of 17.5. So, I mean, really, if you look at it, you got milestones with Brian Thomas Jr., milestone with Josh Hines-Allen. I think there is something to play for a guy like Trayvon Walker, and there's some meaning in that if he gets to double-digit sacks. Had a nice year. And then I would just say the offensive line, and maybe you figure out the running back spot, but I'm not sure that's going to be figured out in the next 4 games. So I look at like 4 things left. Those are the storylines. Most of them are individual-based. One is unit-based. None of them are really team-based. Like, winning football games doesn't matter. Maybe I guess that goes back to the top of it. It's just that part's lost, and I'm okay with them winning. I want to get that out there. Like, I'm okay with them winning. I do think this organization, who has been stuck in the basement in Loserville for a long time overall, has to win as often as possible. I think wins only help. And I know you don't like it. Some people don't like it. You're going to look up. My kid doesn't like it. I still think 6-11 sounds better than 3-14. And 3-14 is bad, bad, bad. Like, really bad. Like the worst, some of the worst in the NFL. Top 5 pick. I don't want that conversation. At least be the middle part of stinky, right? Like 6-11 gets you in a place where nobody talks about the 9th and the 12th pick and the 14th pick of the draft. That's okay. Like, if you're going to be bad, let that be your bad. If that's the new bad, I can kind of live with that a little bit. Don't want to be bad, and this is still disappointing, but I think that's a new bad. The new bad being 6-11 rather than 2-15 and 3-14. I don't know. Like, is there value in that? I'm not sure. I do think winning games and getting out of that commentary, much like you were concerned about the embarrassment of the number 1 overall pick. Yeah. And right now we're not talking about it because they don't have it. I think that still falls, like the top 5 falls in that. I think you got to get out of like the top 7 or 8 to feel like, okay, now you're just like another team in the NFL. Just for this offseason, how about just being another team in the NFL?
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with another team in the NFL. I get that where you lost a lot of people, I think a lot of people were with you until if that's the new bad, 6-11. Because if it was, there's a difference between being 6-11 and being, 5-8 and then finishing bad, or even 4-7 or something like that. You're just middle of the pack and kind of splitting games in a sense all the way up until the end. It's another thing if you're 3-10 and you just scratch the last couple games off the end, right? And you're picking hairs there, but I think that's where, it goes back to expectations for fan bases and kind of the mentality that you have, right? A lot of people are going to hear that and be like, wow, 6-11 off of a 3-10 start is kind of, it's not, we're not saying that it's acceptable, but if that's your bad, I guess, yeah, I mean, that would be, for where Jacksonville has been as a franchise, everybody would sign up for that. If that is the floor, is 5-12, 6-11 is your floor. On your worst year, you're that, instead of getting the first overall pick. I do think that is big for that to kind of be established for our franchise. As far as your other point of there's not really any team storylines, the only one I can really think of is finish well against your division, right? You just got your butts kicked by Houston in rivalry games that we didn't treat like rivalry games. And we played the sounds of the game from Josh Hines Allen on Wednesday with Austen, where he was talking about, day one, as soon as I got here, they talked about we don't like Tennessee. Okay, well, go beat them at home. Do not lose to Tennessee at home the second to last week of the season. Then you finish with the Colts. You beat them once with Flacco. Now go beat them with Anthony Richardson, because guess what? You've probably seen Flacco as a Jaguars team for the last time, right? Anthony Richardson is the guy until we hear otherwise. We always knew that he was going to be the guy going forward, right? We haven't played against him this year. Establish that dominance, even if it's not over the team as a whole, over that player, right? Finish well. Do whatever against the Jets and the Raiders, but finish well against the Titans and the Colts.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good point. I wasn't thinking the division, but I think you're right on the division. Again, difference between being 1-5 and 2-4, and maybe even 3-3. Like, I think these are small things, and I know it sounds stupid, but I just think that's part of it. Like, if you take a sample of the Jaguars in a 3-year stretch, okay, and they're 9-8, 9-8, and 6-11, like, that's kind of normal football in the NFL.
Yeah.
The Jags have been abnormal. That's my point. The Jags have been an abnormal AFC Championship game, number one pick. Playoff run, win over the Chargers, collapse. Top 5 pick if they finish bad at 3. It's like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Can we just settle in here somewhere and know that the floor is going to be? Look, from the outside looking in, we rave about Tomlin when he goes 500.
Yeah.
Like, he goes 500 and we rave about it. They don't in Pittsburgh, by the way. I've been in Pittsburgh. I've listened to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh fans have many times wanted him out. Now, this year they're happy for him. But every time he goes 500, they're like, all right, let's change this thing.
Yeah.
But outside, we're like, oh, look at how many years he's gone 500. Well, he's won one Super Bowl. So I'm not telling you should lower the ceiling. But can we get to the floor being normal? Like, there's something to be said for that. It just become like normal in the NFL where teams are in the mix. Because honestly, if you're around 500, you're in the mix most years. I mean, Jags were out of the mix by early November this year. Like, that's ridiculous. And I know this doesn't make up for it. Who said this? Somebody said this recently. I don't know where I heard it. It wasn't from like another show or anything. One, because I don't listen, and two, because I know it was an in-person conversation. But they were like, maybe it was a player. Maybe it was a Jags player. Might have been Josh. Might have been Josh Hines Allen. And he said, if you look at the last couple years and you ask how important it is for the end of this year, well, take our trajectory under Doug Peterson. Started off 3-7. After, by the way, the previous year went bad. Start off 3-7. You go win games at the end of the year. Go to the playoffs. The beginning of the next year, you won games. Got 8-3. You collapse down the stretch. You start this year 0-4, 1-5, and the rest. Mm-hmm. So maybe there is a little value in going a little stronger down the stretch to get off to a nice start next season. That's actually been the trend.
Right.
Now, the other part we'll have to figure out down the road is, can you finish it off once you get off to a decent start? But I didn't realize that. I wasn't thinking like that, but I thought it was a pretty good point. I think it was Josh who made it. It's like, there's some value in building some, for whatever reason. Maybe it's just ironic. Maybe it's coincidence. Or maybe there is actually a small little something to do with some of that momentum and building off having the wins rather than having to overcome more losses. We said it many times. This team has not overcome last year's losses. The team never overcame the collapse of last year until it was over. And guess what? Now, I thought they might even really look good last week, but I did say this last week. Now that the thing's over, the chase is over, you're eliminated from the playoffs, the division's over, my guess is this team's going to finally take a breath and probably start winning a couple of games. Now, it's easy for me to say that because the teams they're playing have like a crappy record. But I also think there's something psychological to that. They were chasing. And guess what? As soon as they were eliminated and the chase was over, they won their first game after that. Now, let's just see how it goes. Let's see if they build off that. And by the way, that's not a compliment. That's not a compliment. That is a problem. That's a problem and a major one, but I'm just making an observation here. So it's the psychology of this football team and this franchise is like, it belongs on the couch, quite frankly. So we'll see if any of these things add up, and we will have to wait on it, right? We'll really just have to wait, and we'll look in hindsight and say, hey, the last whatever games looked like this and led to potentially this. So we will see. All right, let's do this. Take a break. We're live at Best Bet. Tell you all the good things. 12 days of Christmas going on at Best Bet, giving away a lot of money. So a good way to get here in Best Bet, Jacksonville and Orange Park as well. Let's take a look at the Rains High School this morning. They got the band going. They had a send-off for tomorrow's state championship game. We're going to be down in Miami at Pit Bull Stadium with the Rains Vikings. They're the only team left. And our crew was out there this morning, and what a beautiful morning it was to send the Rains Vikings. They're undefeated this season, looking for another state championship with Coach Donovan Maslin and company, and a very cool deal. What a buzz around the graveyard here on a Friday morning as they head into a state championship game on Saturday. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick GMC. We are professional grade.
Another exciting week of basketball for the Ospreys of North Florida, both at home and on the road. The men's basketball team started off the week on Thursday at home with a 115-83 win over Warner. It was a huge night for Ospreys freshman Josh Harris, who dropped 26 on 11 of 14 shooting to go along with his 14 boards in 27 minutes. Then on Saturday, the Ospreys traveled to Statesboro to take on Georgia Southern. UNF found themselves down 17 in the second half, but came storming back to force overtime. Unfortunately, the Ospreys couldn't complete the full comeback as they fall 93-91. Both the men and the women are back at UNF Arena this week as the men take on UNC Greensboro and the women take on UNC Asheville. Both games are on Saturday. And remember, you can find schedules, results, tickets, and more at unfospreys.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza. Some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us. And at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
On a look at last night's Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational. It was the opening round on Thursday. Had some good basketball games, including this one, Creekside and Bowles. Creekside ends up coming out on the upper side of this one, but 8 good programs playing, and that's what you're going to get. No doubt about it. You're going to get good basketball games, and now the other side of the bracket goes today, and consolation games, 2 of them, 2 winter bracket games as well. And Bowles will play Riverside at 2 o'clock in our opening game of the Friday schedule on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. We're proud to be broadcasting this tournament for the first time. It's the 7th annual Fortegra High School 912 Invitational. And right now we get a chance to talk to DeAndre Walker, the head coach at Bowles. I'm not sure. He might be heading over to FSCJ soon enough, actually, to kind of get. Although I will say this about the basketball teams. Man, you guys don't take a lot of time to warm up. Basketball shows up at like 1 o'clock. They get changed. They do a little workout, and they tip it off at 2, Coach.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of one of those things now. You have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. It's kind of what I always tell our guys.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think the culture itself has been kind of built around, the AAU travel ball stuff. You play so many games in a short period of time. You have very little time to warm up, so you have to learn to quickly adapt.
It's a great point, by the way. In fact, my kids played baseball and softball mostly in the travel ball world, and you'd have coaches. It'd be like an 8 o'clock game in the morning, right? And they'd be like, "Hey, arrive at 6:30," and I'd be like, "6:30 in the morning? What are you doing? Like, you're going to be out there until 8 o'clock at night in 95-degree heat? What are we warming up for 90 minutes? I mean, they're like 14 years old. You should be able to jump out of bed and play baseball at that time of day." So I think I like that world, though. You just kind of, hey, get the shoes on, stretch out for a minute, take a couple of jumpers, and go, Coach. Looks like we might have lost Coach. Coach, you might have hit your I know you went away for a minute. Just check your mic if you might have just hit your microphone off right there. So double check that if you can, and we'll get you back on here to talk about today's game instead of the world of a travel ball. Because if I get stuck on that, hey, there you go, Coach. We got you back.
All right.
Okay. All right. So, hey, just in case I lose you, let's talk about the game today or game yesterday. I mean, what did you see yesterday? Obviously, you come out on the wrong side of it. But how do you feel about your basketball team right now?
I still feel positive about everything. We kind of challenge our guys to recommit on the defensive end. I haven't been really pleased with our defensive efforts lately. We put together some things in spurts, but we have to be a lot more consistent. And I think as we do so, it allows the offense to generate and play more freely. We don't things that gotta happen.
Yeah, you guys are led by Caden Ferguson, and he's a good player for you guys. Seems to kind of run the show, and getting him involved is a big part of it.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Hamby, let's bring him back out here. Obviously, he's looks like he's in a car and stuff, so might be losing him as he continues to go through there. I appreciate Coach trying to make some time for us, but hey, we're 0 for our last 2. I'm trying to get guys on the show talking about the Fortegra High School 912 Invitational. We're trying like heck to get him on, and hopefully he'll be joining us again in a little bit. If Coach gets a chance to jump back in, do that. If he's in a bad spot in town as he's trying to do a lot at one time, we'd rather him focus on the driving anyway. So, and then we'll see him over there at FSCJ today. They're the 2 o'clock game, Riverside against Bowles. And again, we had a good game yesterday there between them and Creekside. Creekside now will get Fleming Island. Fleming Island looked really good yesterday in the opening game against the young Riverside team. So, just part of the lineup today on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Again, you can find all the games from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. So, Coach, we'll see you out there at the gym, and hopefully in another hour we'll get Nease basketball coach on as well, and maybe we won't be moving or inside of school. Hey, Hamby, we got a couple of places that you
still hear me. You hearing me okay? Okay, yeah. Waiting to hear back from the boys.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road. and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnicht has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnicht. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnicht. GMC, we are professional grade.
Another exciting week of basketball for the Ospreys of North Florida, both at home and on the road. The men's basketball team started off the week on Thursday at home with a 115-83 win over Warner. It was a huge night for Ospreys freshman Josh Harris, who dropped 26 on 11 of 14 shooting to go along with his 14 boards in 27 minutes. Then on Saturday, the Ospreys traveled to Statesboro to take on Georgia Southern. UNF found themselves down 17 in the second half, but came storming back to force overtime. Unfortunately, the Ospreys couldn't complete the full comeback as they fall 93-91. Both the men and the women are back at UNF Arena this week as the men take on UNC Greensboro and the women take on UNC Asheville. Both games are on Saturday. And remember, you can find schedules, results, tickets, and more at UNFOspreys.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza. Some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us. And at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
There's a look at Nease and University Christian as we continue to show you some of the Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational. We've got quick highlights on social media, by the way. You can check it out. Just go to my social media, Brent A.S. Jax, also tagged Action Sports Jax and High School 9-12 in there as well, and all the schools that are associated with it. But 2-minute highlights from the games, and we'll play 60-minute editions of the games all weekend in replay fashion from the Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational. University Christian gets the win. They will play Jackson today at 6 o'clock in the winner's bracket game in the semifinals. Brent Martineau back here at Best Bet St. Augustine. Thanks for being patient with us. Because of the tournament, we're testing some stuff out, and something got routed over our show back at the station. So that was listen, that wasn't the banner 6 or 7 minutes ever here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. But it's going to happen from time to time, I guess, unfortunately. We appreciate you hanging up with us. Picks coming up in just a little bit. We obviously talk a little bit more about the Jags. How about the situation in San Francisco yesterday? Holy cow. I mean, what is it? San Francisco has some odd things happen. Like, this is not the first time, Hamby, with them. And a player basically retiring early. I mean, this guy just quit in the third quarter. And the teammate reaction, it takes me back to that Jags game when Trevor got hurt. If the Jags had reacted in the locker room the way the San Francisco 49ers reacted when they saw their guy quit on them and walk off the field, I would have felt better about the whole situation. It's pretty amazing. And you kind of really wonder, like, okay, is this dude all right? Like, because that's not normal. What happened last night? Bad football game to begin with, Hamby. 12-6 game, all field goals. And I kind of wanted Austen to be on the show with us today so I could say, what about that Rams offense you're talking about? Like, being so great? Because sure didn't look that great yesterday with 12 points. And coming off the 44-point effort, obviously, the week prior, just shows you the fickle nature of the NFL. But the dominating story is, if you're not aware of it by now, is the 49ers having a player just walk off the field. Yeah. What do you make of it? Yeah, Devondre Campbell. I'm trying to find his name. But what do you make of this?
I think my only answer is I don't know. Like, this is just bizarre. It's the closest thing we've had to what was the guy for the Colts who retired at halftime like 5 years ago? What was that guy's name?
Oh, jeez, I can't remember. I thought San Francisco had this, but maybe I'm thinking of like Bowman or somebody else who it was like Vontae a 25-year-old linebacker. Oh, it was Vontae Davis. Was he with the Colts at the time?
Let me see. I thought he was.
Vontae Davis, you're right, did retire at halftime. But he was a 49er, right? Wasn't he with the 49ers early on?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was Von. I believe it was Von. Yeah, Vontae. Unbelievable.
It was Vontae Davis because I saw that name being talked about last night. I mean, who was Devondre Campbell anyway?
Well, he was on the Falcons during their Super Bowl run. He's been around for a while. This is not a guy that's new and hadn't had success. He's in recent years, I believe, he's been around quite a bit. Is kind of like a utility linebacker. Let's see where all he's been. He's been Falcons for 4 years.
Falcons, Cardinals, Packers,
49ers. We're reading the same thing.
He was an All-Pro in 2021 with the Packers?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been around, but he's had a lot of success.
He had a great year that year.
And this seems out of nowhere. He's 31 years old, which linebacking years isn't bad at all. I have Kittle. I haven't. I just saw that he made a statement about it. I haven't listened to it yet, but I have it up if you want to listen to it. He seemed like
I've heard some of it. Listen to it. It's pretty strong.
Does that create dissension or disbelief or just disconnection on the sideline?
Not disbelief or disconnection like as a team. That is one person who just decided not to, play for his teammates. And I don't think that doesn't make our offense look at each other and be like, wow, man, we're falling apart. It's more of or like the defense, hey, we're falling apart. It's more of a one person making like Mooney said, a selfish decision. And I'm with Mooney on that. And I've never been around anybody that's ever done that. And I hope I'm never around anybody that does that again.
Yeah, pretty strong, right? That's again, my mind goes on something like this. A guy that's been played in the league, had the success that he's had, former 4th-round pick, by the way, out of Minnesota. Devondre Campbell, I really get concerned about where his headspace is at, and I think there's so much talk about like mental health and all those things that this is just not normal. Like, that's not a normal thing. That's got a little bit of what we witnessed kind of with Antonio Brown kind of go off the deep end, with that stuff. Maybe not to this degree, and I'm not trying to label him. I'm just trying to come up with, okay, can we defend this guy at all? And that would be the defense, even though the players didn't seem to be going there. The players in the locker room after were like, well, hopefully he's going to be cut now, right? Yeah. Because this is a little different than Devontae Davis stuff where he was like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm just done. I realized it like at halftime of a game that I'm done. And, some guys do that at the end of training camp. Some guys do that before the season starts. Sometimes people do it in the middle of the season, but it's not in the middle of a game. And so this guy who's been around the block a little bit. No, I don't think so, no. And again, I think that means he's probably done. I don't know how well he's been playing and all those things. Like, I really just don't. I don't pay attention to San Francisco and watch him each week, obviously. I didn't even realize he was that good at an all-pro in 2021. Shame on me. That's what happens when you don't play fantasy linebackers much. These guys don't get as much notoriety. We complain about Foye Oluokun not getting as much love. I'm not even giving enough love to Devondre Campbell. But just a wild circumstance. But I really do. My mind goes there because we've now seen this with players and guys have been around a little bit and maybe injuries, and you really start to wonder. That's where my mind goes right away. I don't know if that's the right thing to do either. But obviously, from a sports standpoint, you can't do that. From a job standpoint, you can't do that. I don't care what job you're at. You don't walk out in the middle of a shift, right? I mean, that's basically what he just did.
Brent,
so that's not just a football thing.
No, he had played about 100% of the snaps in almost every game until this last one. Wow. Dre Greenlaw came back. This was his first game back, Dre Greenlaw. He's been out all year. His first game back, so he played a little bit more. But out of the first 14 games, he played 100% like 10 times. And then like 94% some others, and then 70% one. So he's like an integral part of their defense.
Yeah, again, I haven't watched much San Fran this year, and he's obviously a good player. There's obviously something up as well. And San Francisco is having a bad year. I mean, San Francisco is just a mess. I mean, they can't win football games. It's pretty wild to see how San Francisco has fallen off for various reasons, but they're really just I think we keep thinking, and we thought this with the Jags and the Jets, and we're just like, okay, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. It's going to click. It just doesn't click. Like, they're no good. Like, San Francisco is just not a good team. Jags aren't a good team. The Jets aren't a good team. It's the end of the story. We got enough sample size now. And they're not good. And speaking of the Jags, by the way, as we were going through like some technical things there, I missed this, but this news is big. Evan Engram out for the rest of the season.
What?
So Evan Engram had missed the last 2 practices. I do not know where he got the shoulder injury. Do you remember Engram getting hurt on a specific play Sunday?
No, this is I have no idea where this is coming from.
Well, obviously he got. I think Doug mentioned it Monday that he got dinged up, and then on Wednesday he misses practice. And then on Thursday, he missed practice. And because he missed practice yesterday and some of this stuff, I think he was getting medical stuff and MRIs and other things and trying to figure it out, is why, like, we were supposed to have him on Jaguars All Access. But we got word yesterday about 11:30, right in the middle of the show, I think I might even mention it during the show, that we weren't going to have him on. And we were trying to find a replacement in the last minute. And it's very unlike Evan to not, I mean, he keeps his commitments. So, this was the reason why, right? I mean, I thought it was, hey, they weren't sure if he was going to be able to go, and so you didn't want to put the player in that spot, put him on TV, having questions about it, blah, 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 blah. Now, this was more like, hey, they're trying to figure out if they're going to shut him down or not. They're doing more tests. So it sounds like from Doug today, he went through a bunch of MRIs and tried to figure this thing out. The crazy thing is I just don't know where it even happened. I just don't remember him getting hurt. Now, it's a labrum. That doesn't mean you're going to necessarily see it. but did I miss him getting off the field slowly or something like that? I don't think I did. I saw him in the locker room after the game because I said to him in the locker room, they were like, hey, he's going to talk on Monday to the media in the Zoom call. And I said, all right, I just want to make sure I give him a chance to talk after a win because he's always so good to us after a loss. And he even said, thanks, appreciate it, but all good. And he didn't look hurt. Really weird. He was, it took him a while to get out of the locker room, but it didn't look hurt to me. So I don't know if this is something that maybe transpired a little bit like later on as they're making their way back and Monday when you sleep on it, all those things. But he's out with a labrum. And keep adding to the pile right now, Hamby.
Goodness gracious.
Kind of a little bit of a lost season for Evan Engram too, right?
Yeah, well, look. So I'm trying to think of the last game. He played a normal snap count. He normally plays between 70 and 80%. And he was at 71, so it's not like he went out and didn't finish the game. I believe he was in there on that last drive. So this is.
Yeah, it might have just been toughing it out, Yeah. Might have been toughing it out.
Yeah. I think it is a loss.
Here's the deal.
He's got, 40 catches?
Yeah, he lost 4 games. 4 games he lost earlier this year. I think it was 4, right?
Yeah.
Was it 4? Was it because of hamstring? So a weird year for Evan because he injures the hamstring in warm-ups.
Right.
And then he misses a few games.
4 games, yeah.
And can't go. And he was a late scratch with that. It was right in warm-ups. It was before the game. And so he misses the early part of the season. Can't get in a rhythm, much like the rest of the team and offense and everything else. And now he's going to miss the last 4 games as well. This is a guy that's been durable, played a lot of football games, been very good, but it just kind of puts another asterisk or whatever on this season because now you lose him. He gets his numbers aren't going to look as good coming off a terrific year, a record-breaking year, really a terrific 2 seasons here in Jacksonville. And now this offense has lost Evan Engram, Trevor Lawrence, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk.
Unbelievable.
And now are these going to be reasons why the offense wasn't good in spurt? But look, we had guys in and out. ETN's missed time. Bigsby's missed time.
Yeah.
Ezra Cleveland's missed time. Is this going to be is that at all a valid excuse for this football team, this offense? That while it doesn't feel like they've been decimated by injury, they've really been impacted by injury this year for much of the season. Even on the defensive end where they lost to Tyson Campbell for a few games. They lost a very durable Foye Oluokun for a few games. They lost Wingard for the early part of the season. And he still really hasn't even been a factor since he's come back. I'm just thinking of the Shad Khan, Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson conversations. And I'm not telling you these are valid things. I think the Jags still should be able to get through some of that. Teams are able to do it. But, hey, when you say San Francisco has not been great this year, what's your first thought? Well, they've been a little banged up. Now, they haven't had McCaffrey, their best guy, for a long time, but I think they were without Debo for a bit. I think they might even have been without Kittle for a bit. Trent Williams, I think Purdy's been banged up and in and out, right? So, or at least he's made it to games, but been banged up. So it's okay for them. Now, they're sitting on 4 straight NFC championships. So that's part of the conversation. Is it part of the conversation in Jacksonville?
Oh, man. The fortunate answer is probably yeah. It's got to be. Right, because every player but BTJ has been out at one player or another. ETN's missed. Yeah, knock on wood there. But everybody's missed. So, the story out of last year, at least for the offensive line, is that they never gained continuity and never got in a rhythm and never gained any momentum because they never played together. Well, I'm not saying because we do have multiple games where all of our guys have played together, and we lost all of those. Probably other than, I guess Engram missed the Colts game, but the first win. But we've had plenty of examples of everybody being in, and the offense still not working, and we're still not winning. So this is not a good argument, in my opinion, but I think I agree with you that it's got to be made. How could it not be? Evan Engram is your top target and your top pass catcher last year, and he misses 8 games total for the year. that's going to be in there.
So how do you? I mean, I get it. It is what it is, but is it enough? Right? Is it enough to be like, well, look, I mean, this is why the offense, like, I just don't feel, there are some years, 2018, I'll go back to 2018. I'll just tell you honestly how I felt about it. The Jags got off to that fast start. Sure. Did it work out that he made a mistake with the extension of Bortles or all that stuff? Yes, you can say that. But what people sleep on in 2018 is they did get decimated by injuries. For the next month, like after that 3-1 start, if I remember, I'd have to go back and look. It was like, guy going on IR, and they didn't have the rules where you could come back at that time. So, like, they ended up with a boatload of people on IR. So, like, injuries were, and a lot of it was in the trenches, especially on the offensive line. So it was like, okay, how's he supposed to play well, Bortles and other people, if the offensive line is so beat up and you don't have the depth? So I didn't say it was an excuse for them. I do think it was part of the reality of that season, though, and people don't put on it. I don't necessarily think that this week. Now we're talking in hindsight a little bit with 4 games to go, and we start adding this up. I mean, they've lost a lot of guys for games. They've lost a lot of games. They just didn't have a lot of guys going to IR. Now they're starting to get the IR guys, like the guys that are out for the season.
Right.
But you also do wonder, let me tell you this, like even the Ingrams of the world. Labram's a kind of a pain tolerance thing. He's a tough dude. Trevor, if they were in the mix right now, would these guys still be playing? You know, so that's another part of it. And I'm not suggesting that they should be playing and all this stuff. I'm just saying, would they be playing? I don't know. You don't know if guys would be shut down if they were in it or still be trying to battle back and get back for the last 2 games or next week's games or whatever else. I mean, keep in mind, Trevor Lawrence has even cleared concussion protocol as of yesterday, according to Doug, or Wednesday. I don't know if he said something about it today. So he would have missed these 2 weeks regardless, it looks like. Now, could they have tried to push him through there a little bit faster? Maybe for this week. I think he would have missed last week, no matter what. So where is it? You're sitting there, are you Shad Khan? You're like, well, they did miss a lot of guys. I mean, does that factor in to whether you keep these guys around or not?
This is exactly, if Austen were here, and this is exactly what he would say. This is exactly why he said moves should have been made after the Lions game. Because things happen that and little whispers and little other reasons, and I guess you could call them reasons, because I don't necessarily want to use the word excuses, but so many of these things happen that kind of get in your ear and get in your mind of, maybe this is why we should bring them back. Maybe, they didn't have a fair shot, and me saying fair shot is going to probably make some people upset, but for the sake of the argument, to have a winning season, to go to the playoffs because of all of these injuries or because of this or because of that. That's why you make the move. This is reason 1A of why you make the move after the most embarrassing loss in franchise history that puts you at what? 2-9? This is why. Because as far as do they deserve to, I think where Jacksonville fans are at, and this thought is just coming to me, is we should shift the reason and the thinking of what's the reason and if you deserve to be fired to do you deserve to come back? I think that's a different question.
Good point.
Yeah, I think for the history of Jacksonville, as far as I've been a fan, for as far as coaches and even quarterbacks, is do you deserve to be fired? And with an owner that we believe to be, I guess, slightly more on the conservative side of situations and changes like this, kind of on the passive side, then he's going to be thinking, do they deserve to be fired? And he's going to look at these injuries, and he's going to look, but do they deserve to come back? Maybe if we ask that question, we have a totally different mindset and situation here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it might be a good one to ask. We'll have more of that conversation coming up. But the big news, Evan Engram out for the season. It's a labrum, and just the latest in the line. You start adding up the offense, they're now missing a lot of guys, whether you like it or not. And does that become an excuse a bit for this Jaguars front office, not just the coaching staff, but from the front office? And I agree with what you just said. I agree with what Austen would have said, and I said it. I sat there. Your decision should have been made up after the bye week, and that's why you make a move then, so you don't have anything else to muddy it up. I agree with that point, from wins to injuries to everything else. That's when because you weren't beating anybody else. None of these wins are of consequence. And now you got excuses on top of either wins or losses down the stretch. So we'll see what that does. But I think it certainly raises questions on what Shad will do, because Shad is unpredictable to begin with. More on that conversation coming up in just a bit. We're going to take a break. We'll come back from Best Bet St. Augustine. Got to tell you about what's going on here, too. A lot of good action here at Best Bet St. Augustine up in Jacksonville as well, with the 12 days of Christmas as we approach the middle of December and head into a weekend here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder-grade materials. And there's more, and for that, we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game, too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt. And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, welcome back here to Best Bet St. Augustine. Get this out of the shot so I'm not giving Starbucks a shameless plug. Oh, I'm going to do it anyway. How about if I put it right down there? I mean, if Starbucks wants to jump on, that's fine, but I'm not going to help them out. Why would I do such a thing? Probably do that enough. Anyway, welcome back, Brent and Austen Show. Austin in Tampa. I think he's going to join sort of in the noon hour, so we'll have him hopefully at that point, and we'll do some picks and also talk a little bit more about this, what is now breaking news, and Evan Engram is out for the rest of the season. The Jags offense really getting beat up. Tell you a little bit about what's going on in Best Bet St. Augustine right here where we are, and that's a great time to come on down. The Table Games Clockwork Cash Out promotion is back, and it starts tonight and tomorrow, 6 p.m. until 12 a.m. Also, in a couple weeks, the 27th and 28th, $300 giveaway for active players on table games every 15 minutes. 12 days for Christmas. It's $1,200 to $2,300 every 60 minutes. So select hours win a card player cruise, too. So there's a little more incentive. And the 12 days of Christmas at Orange Park, Jacksonville, and St. Augustine from December 20th to the 23rd, so the week of Christmas, at right before, $2,000 to $2,300 every 60 minutes, and also that card player cruise on the line. So a bunch of good stuff happening in the next couple of weeks. Get a little time off, have a little fun, take the guys, take the significant other, take some friends, come on down to Best Bet St. Augustine. And by the way, you can watch all the college football games here. You can wager a little bit. You can eat. You can drink. There's more to do than just play poker down here at Best Bet St. Augustine. All right, we're going to talk some sports in a little bit of a different way. We got a big college football game coming up tomorrow. I don't even want to say Army-Navy. I feel like I have to say Navy-Army. Do you have to do that with this game, guys? As I will introduce you to the fellas in just a moment. But do I have to say Navy-Army? Is that how you guys do it?
No, we still say Army-Navy.
You do. So it's not like the Florida-Georgia game. That makes me feel a little bit better because I didn't know, and I didn't want to offend anybody because you know those Gator fans and Dog fans, if you don't say it a certain way, they get offended.
Absolutely. I think there's very components all, but we all know that the last shall be first and the first shall be last. So go Navy.
Hey, so we're going to listen. We know this one could be a little tricky in terms of the signal. That's because Chaplain Zachary Parker, lieutenant in the U.S. Navy, and Commander Robert Molinaro, who are joining us right now, they are on a barge here in Jacksonville, but on a barge. And so I got to believe the service is not going to be the greatest. We may just take their audio if the video doesn't work so well. We'll see how it goes. So a little patience here, but we wanted these guys on as we get ready for the Army-Navy game. What's this one like for you guys? I mean, how big do you take this game? How much are you invested in it? How much pride is on the line as you watch this one tomorrow afternoon on CBS 47?
Yeah, so I'll take this one for Chaps. So I went to the academy. I was there when we won 14 years in a row from 2002 to 2015. So as with every Navy tradition and sailor, we have a history of winning. We are up 62-55 for the series. So both teams are very good, but this one's a little more personal, especially when Coach Munkin, who enjoyed our 14-game winning streak, said, I'm surprised that there's still a Navy team down there. So I am very passionate about this game. I've been rocking the Navy letter sweater all weekend, crushing the ring. And I know a couple of the fellow COs in the basin are prior football players and all-stars at that. So I'm pretty passionate about this game.
That's awesome. Chaplain Parker, I mean, the nice part is that these two teams are good. Like, it's pretty cool that they're really, really good.
No, absolutely. With the very much wild, wild west of college football of today, it has been really special for us service members to see Army and Navy sneak in and be able to showcase what it is that they can do on the field, but even more so seeing how these student athletes are preparing for a greater mission after their college football time. So I hope this also includes a recruiting tactic that some of these high profile athletes in high school, because there's so much uncertainty with the transfer portal and stuff, they know that they can come to one of these service academies. Obviously, we want them to come to the Naval Academy, the best of the best, as well as West Point Air Force Academy, to see that they have some predictability with their future. And that would be something that I would very much encourage any of those high schoolers out there that are contemplating, do I want to go and make some money, or do I want to go and serve my country?
Commander Molinaro, tell us what it's like to go to this game, because it's on my bucket list. I've been to a lot of cool events, and this is one that I really want to go to. Haven't been yet, but I think I will over the next few years at some point go to the Army-Navy game. What's it like?
The game really starts off with about 2 hours of just honoring service, and the pageantry is amazing. Both schools march on, they salute to each other. There's a ton of flyovers. All the heads of departments and heads of the Navy are there. So it is really something to be seen. I think the biggest thing, and I know I'm a little biased towards Navy, well, more than a little, but really at the end of the game, there is that camaraderie of, yes, we both kicked our butts, each other's butts for about 60 minutes, but at the end, we are serving the greater purpose. It's really the game. Everyone that plays the game is
And by the way, we're showing you right now, we had guys on for a couple of days ago. It's a big watch party at Everbank Stadium for the locals to get around this game, and can make a donation as well. But there you see it on the screen, and we had a whole conversation with the folks putting this on. Doors open at 2 o'clock. It'll be a 3 o'clock game, of course, on CBS 47. So big watch party here in Jacksonville. We've been doing that at Everbank Stadium for a little bit. Where are you guys going to be watching the game?
So I'm actually flying up to Annapolis tonight. I have my family's up there. We're going to also do a watch party right down the road from Baltimore. So I'll be enjoying the comforts of the warm weather in my house.
Yeah, for me, my son and I, we may go check it out at Everbank, and then we might go swoop in and see the Ospreys, because I know they have a game tomorrow at 1700. So we're going to try to get the best of both worlds, get a victory at the Navy, get a victory with the old Coach Driscoll and UNF over there.
That's a good deal. What are you guys doing today? You said you're located on the USS Ramage, you're right here in Jacksonville right now, and right off Hector Boulevard, I think. So what's today like, or what's the weekend like? Do you guys get a little more downtime than usual because of the game going on Saturday afternoon?
No, not really. Every day we're required to have a certain amount of people on board to make sure that we're operating safely in the shipyard environment. Today was pretty busy this morning with making sure the ship was clean, making sure everyone was doing their tasking, getting everything done before they head out for the holidays. We just had an all-hands call beforehand to reinforce safety standards. So it's been a pretty productive day, as well as our culinary specialists, our chefs on board, put together a real nice holiday meal for everyone to kind of send them off the right way. So really a lot of great stuff happening today.
That's really cool. Commander Molinaro, you played baseball at Navy, and I think I was trying to Coach K, right? Coach K. Oh, wait, before we get to that, we got to check out this uniform. So do you like the uni? I mean, they always come up with some good stuff. The helmets always look so cool in this game. You guys
Jolly
like the
Rodgers.
uniform?
Yeah, I think, you got to swag out on a big, high-profile game. It's the only college football game on, so I love that they really put forth the effort to make sure that these service members are looking slick.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. As I mentioned, Commander Molinaro played baseball at Navy, and how long ago was that? And I was starting to say, Coach, I think we used to Costacopoulos, or it's a long name. I don't know if you played under him. I know he was there for a long time. I know him back from when I was a kid. He was at Providence College before they disbanded their baseball program. I used to do camps at Providence College, and then I think he went to Maine and then ended up at Navy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's right. So I actually started under Coach Steve Whitmire back in 2003. Played 2 years under him, and then Coach Costi came in my junior year. Unfortunately, I didn't play my senior year because they don't really tell you how hard the academic rigor is and how impressive that not only the student athletes are, but the student athletes that do well in school. one of our baseball teammates was number class, went on CO, Rhodes Scholar, and an all-star baseball player. So when you talk about the talent that goes to these service academies, it is pretty impressive. So I had to leave baseball to focus on graduating. So yeah, it was good.
You know, you go back in the day and you think of like the big time athletes, and you know, and Roger Staubach obviously before me, and then you go before my day, I guess you will. With David Robinson from an NBA standpoint, kind of really brought a lot of attention to the Naval Academy, and that balance must be just unbelievable for these football players tomorrow, for any sport, any athlete, just in general, even if you weren't playing a sport. But that balance between what you have to do commitment-wise to the service, but also your academics and athletics, it's got to be insane. It looks like we might have just lost them. Trust me, it's insane. I think we got you back. So that's got to be a rigorous balance. Yeah, it's just a balance between academics, the service commitment part, and the athletics has just got to be insane. I don't even know if you could describe. Everybody thinks Division I athletes it's like a full-time job. This must be like having 3 jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you my personal experience if that's kind of what you're looking for to contextualize the ask. But in the morning, trying to get as much work I could get done before morning quarters. Go to morning quarters, breakfast. A very rigorous academic schedule, break for lunch, do some sports workouts, probably lifting more than likely, back to school, some company commitments until about dinner time when you're also running out to the baseball field to get a 3 or 4 hour practice in. Then you come in and essentially study till midnight, 1 o'clock, and rinse and repeat for 4 years. So it's a lot.
Yeah, sure sounds like it. We're visiting with Command Chaplain Zachary Parker, Lieutenant in the U.S. Navy, Commander Robert Molinaro as well on the USS Ramage right here in Jacksonville. Get ready for the Army-Navy game tomorrow. And my man, Chaplain Parker, he loves talking some sports. First time I met him, he joined us at halftime of UNF basketball game. And for the last couple of years, I feel like we've been like, hey, we're going to get him on talking more sports. You're a big FSU guy. How do you feel about Travis Hunter potentially landing in Jacksonville? And, well, he never ended up playing for your Knowles, even though we thought he could end up there.
Well, as I unfortunately had to relive the absolute sham of the College Football Playoff Committee just a year past, I thought those wounds were going to become scars, but they just ripped those scabs off and decided the year after to expand it to 12 teams when Florida State definitely received the injustice of their decision. But Travis Hunter, you always had it coming for you, buddy. Come on home to Florida, whether it be Jacksonville or not. It was inevitable that you're going to land here. We miss you. We would have hoped that you could have been a participant in our last 2. Ultimately, we're happy for the kid because he obviously has done a tremendous amount of production on the field, and I think it's very much it was a tough day when he snubbed us to go to Jackson State, but what Jackson State with Colorado, it really has elevated the all-encompassing college football brand. So I have to somehow end up on the same team in Shiloh, and Coach Prime coaches them. Maybe it's in Jacksonville, because as when it seems like week in and week out, Doug Peterson does coach, unfortunately, with injuries, and since Trevor Bank went bankrupt, we don't know what's going to happen with the Jags, but I'm sure that they'd be willing to entertain the idea of Coach Prime coming to coach them down here in Duval.
Yeah, Command Chaplain Parker's been holding it all in, man. He wanted to talk about all this stuff for the last couple of years. I can tell, and I like it. And again, hang with us. Appreciate everybody's patience, but these guys are on the USS Ramage. They're on a barge right now, and still joining us from the show with Army Navy just around the corner. Before I let you guys go, I wanted to mention I've done a story over there at Mayport on this day. Like you guys, there's a flag football game that's taken part in the past. I don't know if that still does happen on the day of the game, and I don't know if you guys have participated in the past, but you guys have had a lot of cool things going on. I mentioned UNF. The basketball team came over for a camp in October. You got the Battle of the Branches flag football tournament hosted by the Jags at NAS Jacks. So there's a lot of cool things in the sports world. And that's what I learned when I went and did that Army-Navy flag football story years ago is just how much you guys are in tune with the sports world and how much athletics and sports kind of helps you and the families and everybody else get through your everyday life.
No, yes, sir. I think he's the commanding officer of the USS Ramage. I'm the command chaplain, and I believe we were the only CO chaplain duo that played. All the other COs didn't have their chaplain, or all their other chaplains didn't have their CO. So the Ramage came out strong for the Battle of the Branches flag football tournament. We made it to the quarterfinals. It's 16 teams, but it was an incredible effort by the Jags. Whitney Meyer and her team, Community Impact, they do a tremendous job engaging for Salute to Service. And then, of course, Coach Driscoll over there at NF, they an incredible job including them as we did last in the Jacksonville. There is so much adversity that comes with serving, but they do a great job of making sure we're included. We didn't get the invitation to the Army-Navy flag football game, maybe because we showed out too much at the Battle of the Branches. But Sir here has an incredible – he's a lefty, so he can scramble out to the pocket. But he played safety for us. I did a little QB, a little safety. But no, we very much – he's definitely a fitness of athletes. So he encourages that throughout the crew to make sure that we stay fit in our – obviously for me spiritually, but physically and financially. So that's something that from the top down of our crew, we make sure that that's something to empower every sailor around here.
That's pretty cool stuff. It's great stuff over there on, as we get to live in this military town and get to learn a lot of the things and appreciate everything you do. And with that, we say thank you for your service. Hope you guys have happy holidays. And I don't have to ask you who you think is going to win tomorrow in that Army-Navy game on CBS 47. Hope you guys get to enjoy the game. Command Chaplain Zachary Parker, Lieutenant U.S. Navy, and Commander Robert Molinaro.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we got you. We're just training so long. We appreciate you, and thanks for your service. Enjoy the game on Saturday afternoon. We appreciate having those guys on. Obviously, tough to get the great service, but also go check out that watch party tomorrow at Everbank Stadium. Looks like you might be able to run into Command Chaplain Parker over there as he's going to try to go there. So thanks, guys. We appreciate you, and good luck in watching that game tomorrow between Army and Navy on CBS 47. Let's take a time out. We'll come back, and we will talk a little bit more about the big news of the day. Evan Engram, we've got our picks still going on. If you miss it, Engram out for the rest of the season. They are shutting him down with a labrum injury. We're live at Best Bet St. Augustine here on a Friday on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. Just a couple of hours away from more basketball now. Fleming Island and Riverside playing last night. The Golden Eagles looked really good, and they will play in the winner's bracket side of things tonight at the Fortegra High School 9-12 Invitational. You can watch it all starting at 2 all the way until 10 on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnicht has a treating you right guarantee. Courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnicht. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnicht. GMC. We are professional grade. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder-grade materials. And there's more, and for that, we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game, too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, there's Evan Engram playing some catch back in training camp. Where'd you pull this video from, Hamby? That's pretty good to go get that one. We've seen him do that with fans at the stands before the games, and, well, no more of that for Evan Engram. He is going to miss the rest of the year with a labrum injury, and it just adds, if you really start to think about this, how it adds up. It's added up to a miserable season in Jacksonville. It's added up to a bad season on offense, and now has it added up to some excuses for this front office and coaching regime, because Trevor Lawrence, Evan Engram, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Ezra Cleveland was in the lineup for a couple of games. Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby haven't been healthy the whole time. Too many excuses for some. Some people already, as I say this, are like, no, what are you talking about? We'll see. We'll see what Shad Khan has to say about it and how they look at this entirety of the season with the Jets on the horizon. That game, by the way, Sunday at Everbank Stadium, throwback to the Jersey game, and it'll be 1 o'clock on Fox 30. So hopefully you can join us for that game at Everbank, and we'll see if the Jags can beat Aaron Rodgers and company. All right, we've been telling you about the Fortegra High School 912 Invitational for really the last couple of weeks. We've been trying to get all the different coaches on. Some we've had some success with on this connection, and others we haven't. I think I got a good feeling about this one as Josh Balin joins us, the Nease Panthers head coach, and coming off an opening round game yesterday where they lost that basketball game, but getting ready to bounce back here today in day 2 of the Fortegra High School 912 Invitational. You're looking good and you sounded good, Coach, and thanks for joining us for a couple minutes on this Friday.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, what do you take away from yesterday's game? Obviously, this is the early stages of the season where you're still learning about your basketball team, and you get 3 in 3 days, so you got to showcase a little bit of that depth throughout the weekend, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just an incredible opportunity to participate in Fortegra. This is our 3rd chance to do so. In the first 2 times, we made it to the championship game, and just honored to be invited back. So in that first game, up against a really solid University Christian team, size, athleticism, well coached, so hats off to them. At this point of the season, early on, it's all about getting better. It's all about learning and growth. So I really liked the attitude and coachability of our young men in our program. So, in that sense, I'm not one for moral victories, but it was a win in that way, and I'm proud of these boys.
Well, you get Tokoi Creek next, right this afternoon at 4 o'clock game, if I've got my schedules correct, with all the different teams. That you can see it, by the way, in the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. So tell your the parents and the kids and everybody else, actionnewsjacks.com, Action News Jacks app. And if they want to watch on their smart TV, you can just download the Action News Jacks Now app, and you can see all the games today and tomorrow as well. We'll have the 3rd place game in the championship for the Fortegra High School 912 Invitational. Tokoi Creek looks like a good basketball team. We talk about a lot of good sports down there in St. Johns County and how quick teams and programs have developed. Tokoi Creek's a great example of this. Undefeated before last night's game at Jackson against Jackson. Jackson, maybe the premier team in the area, and they were toe-to-toe with those guys into the 4th quarter before the Tigers pulled away. This will be a good matchup for you guys today, huh?
Without a doubt. Yeah, that's a credit to Will Wilson, good friend of mine, done an incredible job of that program with Tokoi over there. And they have continuously just improved. Obviously watched the game last night against Jackson. Great high school basketball game. Really impressive to see Tokoi just continue to get better each year. Number 11 for them. I think Tyson, he really stood out. And then just tough across the board and well coached. So great opportunity to compete against Will and his boys today.
Yeah, we put some highlights out there. We had more dunks from that game than any of the rest combined. So you got to obviously defend the interior this afternoon, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to keep a body on him. Make sure that we protect the paint, protect the rim, and then they have a solid team all around. Really impressed with number 5, very athletic guard that was able to get to the rim, Rickerson, and as well as their shooters, and they have a former Nease player, Mark Mitchell, who's just a wonderful young man and a great player as well. So going to be a really, really great challenge today.
It's interesting, as I was talking to some folks yesterday, and I guess I didn't realize this part of what we're doing with our network, and it's like, well, hey, you can go home and watch the games, and so you can also scout the games if you're not there, or you played earlier, you're playing a little bit later. So from a scouting standpoint, though, this is a challenging, 3-day event. You guys do other events like this, but you kind of got to flip it around. Were you up late last night? I mean, how do you educate your kids on the game plan in such a short time? They've got school and everything else.
Absolutely. I think scouting is so important, and I think the coaches in our basketball community do a great job of exchanging film and comparing notes, and it really is a community. But like you said, with that quick turnaround, we've got to be able to communicate and chunk complex information into some simple, digestible bites for our boys so they can play and be free, but also understand who the shooters are, who the drivers are, what their offensive attack and defense is. So definitely got to communicate clearly and effectively today to our boys. Get ready to play.
Yeah, you're looking at a good lineup right there. And as we've been mentioning with the Fortegra High School 912 Invitational, just really good basketball programs in the area playing in this event. So you get some good games. And there's the lineup for the rest of the day. Starts at 2 o'clock again all the way until the nightcap at 8 between Fleming Island and Creekside. And UC and Jackson is a rematch of a game a week ago. And two of the teams that many believe are the top or couple of top teams in the Northeast Florida. You've been there 12 years at Nease, and I say this a lot, and I say it almost like I feel bad kind of saying it. But with football season, and football around here, high school's just wrapping up this weekend with Reigns going to play for a state championship. Obviously, the Jags are the Jags, and college football's college football. We often kind of don't get to high school basketball until the turn of the year in January. So I just don't feel like even I am, as someone who's been in town, as in tune with high school basketball as I should be. But what I'm realizing with this tournament, and just over the years a bit, is there's a lot of good coaches in high school basketball, right? We have a pretty good scene for what you guys are doing down at Nease. You just mentioned what Will's doing at Tolcoy Creek. Obviously, people know the names of Jim Martin, right? And look at the transfer of power, if you will. It just took place at Jackson with Coach Shemwell and what he's doing, trying to continue, that transition after they've been very good for the last 5 or 6 years, maybe the top program in the area. So there's a lot more out here in this area, and you've been a part of that.
No, I'm so happy you mentioned that because, I actually played basketball at Nease High School as a kid, played AAU in the community, and we have a really special group of coaches that are making a huge difference in the lives of young people. And so that gift was given to me, and I'm just honored to be able to pass that along and hopefully making a difference with my kids. But you mentioned Coach Martin. There's so many others. David Jones, who's also in Fortegra at Riverside, was my AAU coach when I was 14 years old. So, I think while football in our area is obviously incredible, I really do believe that for many, many years, there's been this basketball community building that's predicated on character development and making an impact on the youth. And it's Coach Martin, it's Coach Jones, all the people that came before me. So something special to be a part of, for sure. Something really pure.
It's what else is kind of fascinating as I watch some of these games, but also just games over the years, is you've got varying styles of play. And it feels like in high school football, everybody's doing a lot of the same things now. They're throwing the ball and they're spreading it out. In high school basketball, we from the Ponte Vedras to, Jackson gets after you. Like, I've seen a couple of their games this year. They will get after you in the backcourt, and I'm sure multiple teams play that stuff. There are different styles that you can be successful with, I guess, in the area, which is kind of cool to see.
Without a doubt. I think our coaches do a great job of looking at their personnel, looking at what strengths and weaknesses their group of kids has, and then strategizing to maximize that, talent, that group. So I think that's you see Jackson, they've got a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, and a lot of tough kids, and they embody that and they play that way. And I think that goes for a lot of our different schools, coaches, and groups of kids. So yeah, different styles for sure.
I know I'm going a little bigger picture stuff with you here, but you've been around it as the head coach at Nease now for a dozen years. One other thing that I thought we would lose in high school sports is just what it means kind of to wear the jersey and that sense of community for the kids because of AAU. You guys have been dealing with this for a long time, but now travel ball and baseball and 7-on-7s now in football. How is that part of it? Because it surprised me over the last 4 years when my kids were going through high school. I was like, wow, high school sports still mean more than I thought it would. At least in baseball and softball world it did. Is that the way it is in basketball? Do you feel like these kids, it means something still to put on the jersey, even though, especially down in St. Johns County, where you don't have as much movement as you might have in Duval with kids jumping schools because there's just no open seating down in St. John's?
Right. We get some jump with, I do absolutely think we still have that special feeling of school pride playing for your community. I think our coaches do a great job of that. I do think, the amount of transferring that takes place, I don't think that necessarily hurts it. I think parents and kids are looking for the best opportunity for their kid, and that's up to them where they want to do that, And I think as long as our kids are learning sportsmanship and team, I don't think you lose that pride and that special feel. So I do think we're in a good place, and I think we have to be able to adapt to change and continue to make it special. It's all about that experience. We want these kids to remain friends when they're, 30 or 40, going to each other's weddings and being lifelong brothers and sharing those memories. We want to make it memorable. So I think we have that still.
And you said You're saying the right things there for sure. That's what it's all about down the road. All right, Josh Balin from Nease High School. Hey, get finished with your work day, and we'll see you over there at FSCJ. All right, that is Josh Balin, the Nease High School head coach. Hey, Hamby, how we doing back there? Because it's all of a sudden sounds terrible in my ears. You all right back there?
Yeah, we're good. We were an A+ with this connection until the last answer. So on a day like today, we'll take it.
We'll take it. By the way, what was weird about it is not only I thought, okay, his connection's starting to go. We'll wrap it up, even though I probably could have had another question or two for him. But then I myself was hearing myself sound bad, so I was like, oh no, we might be
we're cooked.
One of those days, man. We're cooked, yeah. One of those days. It's a Friday. What the hell? I mean, it's. But anyway, we appreciate Josh. That was pretty cool to hear. I like what he had to say there too at the end. I mean, just big picture high school sports in general. And we just lived it. You've lived it before. It's really cool what he said, and right, like the relationships and the rivalries, and then. I always say this to my kids. I started saying it to them when they were freshmen. So I was like, you're going to talk about these games 25 years from now. Yep. And you're not even going to remember if you went 2 for 4, if you had 12 points in a basketball game. You're going to talk about the game and the moments and playing against them and everything else. Everybody's been doing that for eternity when it comes to high school sports. And I still think that's the case. You're not going to most likely talk about your travel ball tournament 25 years from now at the bar. With your buddies. Like, you're just not, most likely. Now, I think you're going to talk about your high school sports and maybe if you're fortunate enough to go play college sports, that as well. So it was cool to hear Coach Josh Balin say that. He's done a nice job over there at Nease, and they are in action this afternoon at 4 o'clock once again on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. If you missed it earlier, a couple big storylines that we've been talking about in and out of some interviews today, kind of interview heavy here on the show, and we're going to have our picks coming up at the top of the hour. But the big story around the sports world this week has been Bill Belichick. Yep. We're going to get to that part in a moment. I want to get Hamby's thoughts on that contract and everything else that goes into it, and even the news conference. The other big story, Juan Soto, right? That whole thing is kind of interesting in hindsight now, if you look at some of the reports and how that came to a head. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But the big story locally, obviously we got the Jags and the Jets coming up Sunday. The game doesn't feel that big. It's the other storylines that feel big. And what happened about an hour ago is Doug Peterson said Evan Engram is out for the rest of the season. And I can't get off the topic because I just really wonder how this is now going to play out. Like, I get it. Like, everybody else has their mind made up. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter if your mind is made up. Is there still some decision-making to go on for Shad Khan? I guess that's probably the simplest question. Like, I remember Austen said yesterday on the show, is like, his mind should be made up. I think we've all said that. Our minds are made up. Should be made after the Detroit loss, the bye week. The fans' mind has been made up probably for, like, months now. Is Shad Khan's mind made up? And where do you put, how about best bet, St. Augustine? Where do you put the odds on that, Hamby? That actually his mind is made up, because, to be honest with you, I would say like, this was my fear coming off the bye week. I don't think his mind was made up. Yeah. After the Detroit loss, like, I think he was leaning, but I don't think it was final. And so I got a feeling that it's not made up, which gives all this other stuff room and time to enter the conversation. And I know that everybody doesn't want to hear that. I'm just telling you how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's probably plus 235. That's where I'm putting it. It's a plus 235 that his mind's made up. There's no way in my mind that it would be, if we're talking odds, that it would be the favorite. That after the Lions game, or even before that, or even since then, that he's made up his mind and he's just waiting because he's that keen on doing stuff after the season. He's that anti doing stuff in season. I just don't buy it. So I'm with you. I just think which owner who, for a guy in I think I'm trying to be careful as someone who knows very little about Shad as a person, even, and so many know him much better than I do. But we try to get into his mind and see what he's thinking. We've done that quite a bit on this show because we think it's such an interesting. I mean, first of all, he's just such an interesting guy, and obviously trying to do some transformational things in Jacksonville. But as for me personally, I always try to be careful. But as a guy who's a billionaire, you got to think when he makes a decision, he's very decisive, right? And when he makes a decision, he probably acts on that very soon. That's part of. I had to imagine it's near impossible to be as successful as he has been and not have that character trait or just that habit. So, in that sense, if I'm trying to think of him as a businessman first, as what he is, it probably pushes that line even further to where if it was made up, he would have acted.
Yeah, that's. I don't know how to follow on it either. I think those are. I think one can be true without the other. Let's just say that. Mm-hmm. But I also don't know which is true. I just love the reports that come out about what the Jags are doing. Like the recent report. We didn't even talk about it. And you know why I don't really talk about it, Hamby? It's because I don't buy it.
Yeah.
Like I don't buy the stuff that's come out the last day on the whole Trent Baalke. Is it going to lean in toward being safe? Who knows that? I think Jordan Schultz reported it. And with all due respect to him, he doesn't know that. Like, nobody knows. I'm just convinced, and maybe I'm being the one that's naive here, but I'm convinced after covering Shad Khan for a dozen years that nobody knows. I'll even say, I think sometimes Tony Khan doesn't know. So,
really?
And Tony Khan isn't, and maybe that's being disrespectful to Tony. I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying that's how tight the circle, I think, can be. I don't think these are like. I don't know. I get the idea that it's not. Those conversations aren't like that. I think he just collects information, and he collects it from Tony. He collects it from people inside the building. Collects it from Mark Lamping. Collects it from. Sure as heck doesn't collect it from like social media and everywhere else, but he just collects it, and then when the time comes to process it, he processes it. I don't think he processes it like weekly like we do. And I think that's like the disconnect, right? And I'm not telling you which is right or wrong, but I don't think he gets like as emotionally high and emotionally low during the season. Mm-hmm. I think maybe on Sunday afternoons he does, but not as much on Mondays as everybody still is. And so I don't know what he's thinking, and I don't think anybody knows what he's thinking. I don't think Trent Baalke is necessarily coming back. I don't think Doug Peterson is necessarily coming back. I also don't know if they're going to be gone. I still kind of make a claim, and I told somebody this yesterday, that I think I just feel like the business side of this, I've been told it's not. There's no business side of this that is impactful. I just feel like we're missing something from a logical standpoint of either keeping these guys or letting these guys go that could factor in over the next few years because of the situation the Jags are in. Next year's normal. The next 2 years are not. More London games, half capacity, then no home games. What kind of, okay, so I'll just say it again if you've missed this in the past. If they fire Doug and Trent this year, you have almost got to say, okay, let's just say it's Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, we want you to be our guy. Just to let you know now, next year's normal. You got your QB under contract. You got all this. You got you got a top 10 pick. You got plenty of money to spend. Great. In 26, so just so you know, we're going to have half the fans here. I don't know if that bothers you or not. You're going to probably play an extra game in London. Don't know how you view that. In 27, you're not playing a home game. You're going to be going down to Orlando, most likely, I would say, for all the games. And then, so every game's a road game, essentially. And then you get to open up the stadium. Okay, well, if I'm Ben Johnson and I got all this say, and by the way, he seems to be very picky about where he's going.
Right.
How do I feel about that? How do I feel about that setup to try to build a culture and try to build a stable franchise? You're like the epitome of instability for the next 3 years in Jacksonville. And by nobody's fault, just that, hey, you got a new stadium coming. Which is that enough? Is that hey, you get to open the new stadium? And that's where I'm going with this. And I've said it before. If you go hire a coach in this cycle, my guess is it's at least a 5-year deal, probably a 6-year deal, and maybe a 7-year deal.
Because they want to guarantee that they're the guy who gets to open up the stadium.
Well, that's right. You have to. That's why you're taking the job. Much like you're selling tickets in Jacksonville right now. If you say, hey, if you buy tickets next year, you get priority in 2028. That coach wants that same deal. But and he's got to navigate through all this stuff. And he's got to help flip your franchise on top of it. Is that ideal? Okay, so then let's go for another example. They keep this regime. I know everybody's like, oh my gosh, Brent. Well, if they keep the regime, then he hopes that they do well enough, obviously, and find it to keep him through 26.
Right.
And maybe even keep him through 27. And if somewhere in 26 and 27 things go wrong, well, now when you go to the cycle of hiring a coach, you've got less friction to deal with. Let's just say you have to make a change after the 26th season. Okay, well, hey, 27 is going to be a little bit of a pain, but we're going to give you some rope there, but you get to open the season in 28. You see what I'm saying? How it changes the narrative of what you're selling to the coach that you're hiring?
Mm-hmm.
And you can take it a bunch of ways. Like, well, Brent, if you have to fire him after next year, then what are you really selling? That's like the worst case scenario. You're walking into your first 2 years are as abnormal. Who are you going to get? So I'm in the middle of it. I don't know if any of that matters from an enormous amount, but I got to believe it matters in some degree. Like, again, Bill Belichick. Why is he going to North Carolina? Well, because probably some of the jobs that are open don't intrigue him very much in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The Jags one of them? Do you think Bill Belichick wants to do an extra game maybe in London, half capacity, which, again, I don't know if people care about that, but then on the road in year 3 the whole time? Get out of here, right? Like, no way. Doug Peterson has been way more flexible over the 3 years at the idea of London. He had to go practice at Episcopal for a training camp. He had to go to a high school for a training camp while they built the facility. You think Belichick's of the world would have done that and smiled about it and been okay with it? And I know these seem like small potato things. I just believe it adds up. It's part of it. It's part of the conversation. And I don't think anybody's really talking about that part of the conversation. But if I'm Ben Johnson's agent, I'm talking about that part of the conversation.
Yeah, you're getting a 7-year deal.
That's part. Yeah, I'm getting more money and more of a deal. I want more commitment. And all the other things are fine and dandy. But again, even London alone, Doug can make the case, and others have made the case, that it's a competitive disadvantage having to move your football team over there for 10 days. Now, you can also make the case it's an advantage. It just depends how you're bought into it. Doug has bought into it. Doug, he's got this team believing in it, which kudos to him. He's been able to do that. Not all teams would. You think Urban Meyer would get his team to believe in it? I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe it would. I don't think so. So, again, these are just some of the things that, and I guess what I'm getting at, giving you those examples, I don't know where where the organization, where the potential candidates fall on any of those things. And I think it can vary, quite frankly, which makes this potentially even more muddy as you try to reboot it again over these next couple of years. This is an interesting stretch over the next 3 years. Not just, hey, do you believe in Trevor Lawrence and this roster and what we're doing? It's more, okay, we got all that and this on top of it. So I think it's I think it's the least talked part about this, Hamby, is that, but I think it's a factor. Maybe not if you keep or not keep Doug and Trent, but definitely on who you bring in. It's a factor.
So that makes me think the hypothetical, if we were to run it back with the current guys and Doug and Trent, what if next season doesn't go well, right? And then you were looking to move on after that. Then you're looking to hire a guy in his first season is the 50% capacity. Then he moves away for 2 years. Like, is that even like? Is there any of it where it was like, hey, like, unless we believe Doug is the guy for years to come, we have to make a move now because you're probably not making a move. It's tough to bring in a guy whose first year is 50%. It's doubly tough to bring in a guy and say, hey, welcome to Jacksonville. You're going to play in Orlando. Like, imagine if that was your first season. So it
is, but at least there's a light at the end of the tunnel on that one. There's a shiny new stadium on the end of that one. It's not 2 years of it. It's one thing. It's right. Okay, we got to go play here, and then boom, you get the like. That's. See, I would say there's intrigue there. I don't know if there's intrigue in taking over this franchise, trying to flip them, playing an extra game in London, minimum capacity, then Orlando, then I get to open the stadium. I don't know if I'm intrigued by that, if I hold a lot of power. I mean, I think that's a lot to navigate as a guy who's already got to flip a franchise. If everything was perfect, you've got to flip the franchise. So it's a hard enough job. Is the point. All right, let's do this. We're way late on a break. Live at Best Bet St. Augustine. We're going to get Austen in from Tampa in just a moment, and we'll get his thoughts on this. Evan Engram shut down for the rest of the season. Labrum surgery needed. So another guy off the offense. We'll get his thoughts on that. We've got some picks coming up, and, much more here on the show. I do want to get to that Belichick contract, too. How about it? Bill Belichick, all smiles, man. He loves it in Chapel Hill. This is the upset of the 2024 year, and it happened in December. I mean, Bill Belichick, if I had told you 3 months ago, 6 months ago, at the start of the year, Bill Belichick's going to end up at North Carolina. Holy cow, would have loved to see the odds there. We're live at Best Bet St. Augustine on the Brent and Austen Show. Welcome to Everbank Stadium. We call the stadium the bank. Here inside the Jaguars locker room, this is called the Vault. The Vault is a special place on game days. You can feel the energy and excitement as the Jaguars get ready to take the field. And Everbank has made a way for Jaguars fans to be a part of the action. Each home game, Everbank will select a winner and a guest to be a part of the Shadows. Be there up close and personal when the Jaguars leave the Vault to take the field. Not only that, the Vault Lounge provides a VIP pregame tailgate experience. High-end food, beverages, music, and more. Want a chance to be part of a VIP experience at a Jaguars game? Enter today at everbank.com/shadows, and you could find yourself in the shadows with the Jaguars.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jag Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this. Because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Hey, there's a look at our lineup for the day. 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock games at the Fortegra High School 912 Invitational on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Had a great day one. Looking forward to a big-time day two. And we'll have a day three, by the way, on Saturday with a 5 o'clock and 7:15 game. It all ends with the championship game, 7:15 tomorrow on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Brent Martineau here. Jason Hamby. Here is Best Bet St. Augustine, where they've got the 12 days of Christmas going on. You got to win a lot of money just by playing here tonight, tomorrow, here at St. Augustine, also in Jacksonville and Orange Park as well. Hamby is in the studio. He's been helping out a lot today. And now we are joined by Austen Lane, he's in Tampa. And you look like you're just chilling. I'm trying to figure out, like, when I look at your shot right now, it's like it reminds me of something, but I can't really figure it out what. Like, I feel like you're just like, I don't know, like chilling out in Italy or something like that.
I mean, maybe, yeah. Look, I didn't see the background where I'm at right now. Yeah, so I'm on top of the roof at the Marriott. Just because, like some guys are chilling right now in the room and everything and sleeping and kind of resting. Had weigh-ins this morning, so I had to go through that ordeal, which it's obviously stressful. Anytime someone's cutting weight and they're cutting a lot of weight, it's my job as one of the coaches to help that fighter push through. Even though I've never cut weight myself, it's one of those things where you just kind of got to find. You kind of have to feel what they're going through, right? Where you don't want to push too hard and frustrate them, but, if they're feeling weak and depleted, you also want to pick them up a little bit, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. So it came down to the 11th hour, Brent, but we made weight and everything. It's huge, big news. And, so now everyone's going out to eat and everything. I'm just chilling right now.
All right, good deal. I like it. That's great. Hey, Hamby, how's everything sound back there? Because if everything sounded and looked good on this show today, I'd almost be concerned.
There we go.
Hey, everything's good back here so far.
All right, I was hearing like cricket noises or something, so I think it came from my board out here. But you're not hearing any of that. That's good, as long as you guys don't hear it.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
All right, that's great. Hey, we were just you probably caught the tail end of this conversation. Well, a couple of things. First of all, the breaking news.
Yep, I heard it.
Well, before we get to that part, Evan Engram out for the year.
Yeah.
So obviously it's kind of a lost season for him, right? We talked about it with Trevor Lawrence. Like, what do you make out of 2024? You kind of do the same thing with Evan Engram. He's coming off 2 terrific years, so we know who he is. But I think Hamby's burner asked in the account, hey, significant injury, 30 years old. Do you start to move on from a guy like Evan Engram? I'm not thinking that way at all because I really feel like he's a valuable piece. I get the conversation. What do you think about that? Would the Jags now consider moving on from Evan Engram after this season and getting 3 good years from him?
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that because I think he's such a pivotal part to this team, right? We always talk about where if you do change regimes, you still have to have some of those bridge guys that are leaders that know how to do things the right way, that the new coaches, if they do come in, can rely on those guys. And Evan Engram is definitely one of those guys. So I think like he's crucial to the team, even if he can't give you 100% on the field, just being a locker room guy. Now, if he's healthy, yeah, he's going to help you out as well. That guy is an offensive weapon, once again, when he's 100%. When you talk about a labrum, I'm not sure how long he's been dealing with it for. Maybe you guys talked about it. I have no idea. I'm just kind of hearing about this right now. You know, as someone who had a labrum surgery, you know, himself, I mean, I'm sure even the technology, you know, from whatever the 12 years since I've had it has come a long ways. And the biggest thing I would say with him, it's not necessarily like the recovery. Like, yeah, you're going to recover. Like they know how to repair labrums. It's nothing new. But now it's just making sure that you gain your mobility back, right? And as a tight end, like, yeah, arms are important, be able to catch and everything, feel confident in your blocking. But it's making sure that the mobility comes back close to 100%. It'll never be 100% as someone who's speaking from experience. But that's where obviously the rehab comes into play, making sure you're stretching it out through those first couple of months of the rehab. So I think you got to keep him, regardless if it's going to be Doug Peterson here or if it's going to be some other coach. You got to keep those bridge guys because you saw what happened when you let Calais Campbell go, how it all went to hell after that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You know, the whole Engram thing brings up questions. I mean, he's been great, but he is on the older side. Not old, because look at Travis Kelce still plays 34 years old. You can play the tight end position for a couple more years at a high level. I think Kelce's proven that. I think others have. All right, from Antonio Gates to several other players. Heck, Mercedes Lewis is still playing. He's almost 40 years old. So it just kind of depends what you're asking him to do. So I think that's one deal. But you can at least think about it. And by the way, this offseason, whoever comes in, whoever's still here making decisions, you can think about moving on from two potential centerpieces around your franchise quarterback. That was Engram and Christian Kirk, because Kirk, too, will raise these kind of questions. So it's pretty interesting from that vantage point. The other part is this, Austin.
Well, hang on, Brent, real quick. Let me ask you guys this. Because, yeah, I think you can make cases maybe for Kirk or Engram, you know, to – whatever, be let go or traded, whatever the case may be. Which one would you want to keep more? Like, if you only pick one guy to keep, you guys taking Evan Engram, you taking Christian Kirk?
Oof. Oh, don't put me in this way.
Yeah, this is bad.
Don't do that to me.
If you're gonna come in, if you have me on the show for the last hour, you better get ready.
I go back and forth in my mind here on this. I'm going to say
Brent's trying to figure out who he's having the show more.
I got upcoming show with both guys. All right. So.
Oh, dude, my bad, Brent. Harvey, you want to answer this one then? We'll let
yeah,
Brent
I'll start.
Herb Street. College game day.
Look, the first thing that comes to mind when you're talking about replacing somebody or moving on is who would replace them, right? Well, the Jags have Parker Washington, but they also have Brenton Strange, right? And I think both of those players, Strange and Parker Washington, are similar in the fact of what they bring. Like, I think they're same caliber of player as of right now. They've shown flashes. They've shown that they can be a part of this offense, given more opportunities. It's the opportunities that they have not gotten of why we don't know. So I think across the board, there are a lot of even lines here, right? You could just as easily make the argument that, if we get rid of Christian, we still have Parker Washington. Well, if you get rid of Evan, we still have Brenton Strange, who at times has looked like he could be a real part of your offense. To me, honestly, I almost want to just go to what happened when our quarterback got hit. Evan Engram was right there. And Evan Engram is a huge part of this culture. And we talk about culture all the time. We're fighting for just as many guys as we can get. We need more. The last thing I want to do is get rid of somebody who I know and am certain is a definitive part of the great part of the Jags culture. However good that it is, or is because of him in a large way. So I'm almost off the field more. I would rather have it Evan.
Yeah, I mean, to follow up on that, Hamby, Brent, I'll let you kind of keep going through mental gymnastics a little more here, and then I'll let you speak. I think from a culture standpoint, and listen, I think both are great guys. Trevor and Christian are really great friends. I think that whole scrap with Evan Engram after Trevor got hit speaks volumes. Now, keep in mind, Christian Kirk wasn't on the field for that. Sure. I'm sure Christian Kirk would have been right there as well, defending Trevor Lawrence. So, it's hard to not give him the benefit of the doubt as well. But I look at, let's say that Ben Johnson, for whatever reason, comes to Jacksonville. You probably get the guy that's the most coveted. Ben Johnson comes to Jacksonville. Well, if you want to pound the rock, if you run the football, you're probably talking 2 tight end sets. You can replace Christian Kirk and say, okay, Parker Washington, it's your time, fill in. You can replace Evan Engram and say, okay, Brenton Strange, we've seen some good things from you, let's go in there. But then who's the second tight end going to be? I think there's room for debate there. So I would much rather have Evan Engram and Brenton Strange on the field at the same time with Parker Washington than I would with Christian Kirk, Brenton Strange, and then tight end number 2, who I guess remains to be seen.
Those are all good points, by the way. Now that I've had a chance to think about it a lot, my ears and my brain are having mental gymnastics throughout the day, quite frankly, today on this show. But I actually think I would lean toward keeping Kirk.
Okay.
I feel like he is so good in that spot, and I feel like the trust of Trevor and him is so strong, and I feel like that's been missing in the last calendar year, quite frankly, because Christian Kirk has missed a lot of football games, and I again, Engram gives you stuff that other people don't too, but I'm kind of a buyer on Brenton Strange more than I would be on Parker Washington, to Hamby's point at this moment, and I actually think you can utilize Brenton Strange in every facet of the game. He's a very good run blocker, Austin, and I think he's shown to be a pretty good pass catcher too. Ingram's different because he's unique, so it's really up to whoever wants. Do you want that move tight end who really can double as a wide receiver, or do you want that double threat guy like a George Kittle type, right, where he can actually do both and factor into both parts of the game, which also opens up different kind of stuff in the playbook. Not to say Engram can't block, but he's definitely more of that move tight end who can also swing out to wide receiver, who is really tough to defend because of that, than he is your prototypical tight end who can hang in and block and then go beat you in the other way. So I think both present different things, but I guess if I had to pick right now, I'd probably say I think I have more faith right now in what I've seen from Brenton Strange than Parker Washington. Okay. And you're going to need more, to your point, but you also need a good slot guy. Look at what they do have in Detroit. They got a good guy in the slot, too.
No, absolutely. Listen, even though I think I'm more on Team Evan Engram here, if Trevor Lawrence names his daughter Christina, then yeah, Evan Engram. We'll see you later, man. It's been fun. But, obviously, we got to keep Christian Kirk just to make the quarterback happy. So keep a lookout for that.
That's a good idea. That's good. I like your thinking on this one. Hey, Facet, right? I don't even want to think about that. Obviously, that was an uncomfortable conversation for me. I think both guys. I think that's asking. That'd been like asking 2 years ago, or now like Calais or Josh Hines Allen. It's like
Brent, Tyler Cayley. Who do you like better, man? Go and share.
I'll give up Ty and Cayley.
There we go.
Sorry, guys. I was just kidding, all right? Ty and Cayley, relax.
Yeah, we're good.
And Steph, relax.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, so the other part of this whole deal that we were talking about as you were getting in and listening before we went to commercial break is just this whole dynamic with, if they do reset it, what's the sell to the guy coming in? And I don't know how you feel about, but I went through this. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel again. I just simply say, and I'm going to put it out on Twitter as well, that if you're attracting somebody in for this new regime, front office, head coach job, everybody else, here's what your sell is. Hey, we need you to help get our franchise to the next level. That's why you're being hired, of course. We think you like our franchise quarterback. Okay, they obviously signed off on that if they're interested. And then just be aware now, you've also, next year's normal, but you've got this London thing that we do, even in regular times. You might have more of that in 26 and 27. You don't have a home field in 27, but hey, on the other side, you get to open up this brand new stadium. It's going to be freaking awesome. So I think that's a potential hurdle for Shad Khan and hiring somebody else as at least conversation points that you lose leverage in the conversation, Austen.
So it's an interesting point. It's definitely a point that needs to be talked about a lot. Here's how I look at it. I think if you're pursuing Mike Vrabel, right? Mike Vrabel's been a head coach before. He was in Tennessee and everything, and he's been he's seen the Patriots, how they do things. He's been around the NFL for a while as a player and obviously as a coach. I have a hard time believing you would sell a guy like Mike Vrabel, who's been in the coaching seat before, to say, hey, Mike, let's come to Jacksonville here. Let's turn this whole thing around. Yeah, we'll be in Orlando a little bit. Yeah, the stadium reconstruction. Yeah, a couple games in London, all this stuff. I don't think he might go for that if there's other suitors like, let's say, Chicago, right? Where Chicago, a little more of a storied franchise, a little more tradition, defense, all this stuff. Like, I feel like Mike Vrabel would probably pick Chicago over Jacksonville. But if you look at like a young and upstart, coordinator who wants to make something, who wants to prove or something, like, keep in mind, these are coaches, Brent. Ego and challenges are what they thrive off of. So if you get a young guy in here who will probably be more of an offensive-minded guy, because it seems like all the young guys are offensive-minded guys, and we go, yeah, it's not the perfect situation. You're going to be in Orlando a couple of years, do all this stuff, stadium's getting rebuilt, but then once we open it up, you're going to be here. You're going to be at the forefront of it. I think a young guy trying to make a good first impression in the NFL is going to want that challenge. So to me, it comes down to more of, maybe a guy with not so much experience as a head coach, maybe a coordinator, a young guy coming in and saying, I want to have this challenge, as opposed to maybe a guy who's done it before, like Vrabel, that's going to say, man, like, I've been around this league for a while. I've coached before, and like, I don't want to go through this whole ordeal. I'm going through someplace else.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I don't know what it's like. I just think that's part of the pitch. Like, that's what you're going to have to do. So, hey, a couple other quick hitters because we got to do some picks quick too. What did you make of Bill Belichick and the news conference and everything? Doesn't it seem genuine? Like, this whole college thing, it doesn't feel like it's, we'll give this a try. It really does feel genuine, which I think is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I think, listen, any person in power, when you can kind of set the terms and have it your way, it's hard to put a price on that. And I think that's what we see at Bill Belichick right now. Sure, there's NFL coaches out there, but they still got to deal with the GM. They still got to deal with the owner and everything. And you get the sense that this is going to be Bill Belichick's baby. This is going to be Bill Belichick's show. Yeah, you still have to deal with the president every once in a while, the athletic director, but it seems like they're going to turn it all over to him, let him do his thing. And once again, that's hard to put a price on. So I get the enthusiasm from Bill Belichick.
What do you make of the contract, Hamby?
Yeah, I think, it's college friendly. I guess it's both friendly in aspects, because it's a 5-year deal, but it's pretty much a 3-year deal, right? Because it's guaranteed for 3. For UNC, it kind of can be viewed as, look, we're going to give us a shot. If it's not, there's not going to be no crazy buyout, no 50, 60, 70 million dollar buyout. We try it for a couple years. It's great for publicity for our school, and we give it a shot. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's kind of the vibe I get from the school. Also for Bill, it's like, yeah, it's obviously $10 million a year, so there's that. He's getting the power, as Austen just talked about. He's getting the control. And at the end of the day, he doesn't have to be there for forever. If something opens up that he really wants to go do that's not this, he kind of has the power to do that, because he's only locked in for 3 years.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Listen, 3 years is what it is anyway, probably for him. And then if you keep going, you keep going. Heck, he's got to check his health and everything else at that stage of it, right? At 75 years old. So, But again, listen, he is all the things you guys just said. It's great. I do think it's cool that it seems like he's excited to be there. And I'll go back to what I said. Probably the biggest upset of the year, guys, that he's a coach at North Carolina. Like, I can't think of off the top of my head, and of course this is recency bias, of like a more surprising story of the year that Bill Belichick, hey, he's going to obviously he didn't get a job the last cycle. He'll end up coaching again. Oh, at North Carolina. I think it's just amazing that's how it ended up being. Hamby, get us going on these picks. Let's go quick on them. And all right. I think we're in the lead, right? So we got to hang on to the lead.
Oh, we're in the lead, yeah.
Yeah, we're in the lead. So we'll start with the one
Why
college
is
football game
Austin
tomorrow.
Usain Bolt just like at the finish line, just like looking back at the camera? But sorry, go ahead, Hamby.
Hamby, why is Austin so loud today?
Am I loud?
Is he loud on your end?
Levels wise, he's normal.
Okay, he might just be loud in my ears. There might be something that on my end. I'm just curious. He sounds crystal clear. I was just curious. We're figuring the show out on the go today, Austin.
I can see that.
We're just so. We messed around with the board because we used the board for the high school basketball tournament yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm actually I'm a little surprised that any of my stuff even works.
How'd it go yesterday? Good? No problems? No qualms? Or even if there was, probably not going to say anything, but...
Yeah, no, actually, overall, pretty good. I mean, we had some bugs, which we kind of anticipated. First time ever doing it, and we're going to fix some of those today. But it'll get even better today, we hope. But, very good tournament, and we're excited about it. I was pretty happy with it overall. So, all right, let's do the picks so I can be happy about that, too. What's up, Hamby? Lead us off.
All right, here we go. So we're up 2 games on the opponents, which in second place is Casey's No Names show. So we're 43-41 overall because he gave us a loss for the push with the Dolphins, but he counted everybody as a loss. So across the board, whether you took +6 or Jets, so everybody got a loss for that. Anyways, all right. Only college football game on this weekend.
Oh, we just don't count it. All right, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, go.
Casey being negative? Shocker.
Right. Army, Navy. Army 11-1. Navy 9-3. Army is 6.5-point favorites. This game was insanely close last year. I'm going to go ahead and kick this one off and say, look, if you don't know a whole lot about these teams, obviously you're going to see 80% run from Navy. You're going to see 90% run from Army. So just lock in for that. I'm excited for the game, but as far as having a lean one way or the other, the lean seems like just, hey, this is going to be close. These two teams, rivalry is going to be close, so give me the +6.5.
See, I'm going to lean towards Army. I think that Tulane game, which I watched, kind of showed a lot. Obviously, I'm a big Army fan. My grandfather's in the Army, so every Army-Navy game, we'd always watch and cheer for Army, so I'm a little biased as well. But I just think, usually these teams are very comparable, and even when they're not, they play in close games. I just think that Army does everything just a little better than Navy, and the weather is going to be okay, right? It's not going to be like a winter snow game or anything like that.
Don't think so. It'll be cold, but no snow.
As far as we know,
As far as I know,
it'll be cold. Yeah. So go and give me Army.
Oof. I always like to pick the Navy because we're in a Navy town. I kind of agree though with Austin here. I think what you just said at the end there is perfect. They're a little bit better, it feels like, in a lot of different areas, just enough to maybe add up to a touchdown win. This isn't the old school stuff where you're going to get like that 13-10 game because it's just a rugby scrum the whole game, right? So it's different there. I'll go with Army and hopefully not regret it. Sorry, guys, that we had on from the Navy earlier today on the show. Hey, I'm under a lot of influence today, and not the kind of influence that you guys think, all right? Go ahead, Andy.
We got to talk off the air, man. Brent's going through it right now. I don't know what's going on.
All right, so we got we're going to pick 5 NFL games, so we'll go through them real quick. We got Chiefs, our 4-point favorites at Cleveland. Austin, you're going to start this one. Chiefs -4 at Cleveland.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm sure it'll probably be a 3-point game, but I got to lean towards Kansas City. Go and give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs here, too. Here's the deal. Hamby, just take the dang Chiefs because Chiefs are the Browns. All right? There's one team you don't pick, and there's one team you do pick. We're picking the Chiefs.
It's a good point.
I was going to take the Browns because Jameis is 2-1 at home since he's been in there, and he's beaten Baltimore and he's beaten Pittsburgh. 2 pretty dadgum good teams. But fine. We'll go.
Yeah, dadgummit.
We'll go with the Chiefs. All right.
Well, I haven't heard since I was 6 years old from my grandpa, but yeah, please continue.
By the way, first time I've ever in my life said dadgum.
Baby.
I think it might be the first time for me, too.
Add it into the playbook right quick. You'll do better. Dolphins at Houston. Texans are 3-point favorites. Brent, you start.
Oof.
Yeah, I think Houston's going to struggle in this stretch here. I'm going to take the Dolphins, who are still clinging to a little hope. And they've got a tough 3 games on the horizon. I don't think they're very good. They are coming off the bye week. But I'm going to take the Dolphins here, Austin.
Yeah, so we're saying it's 3 in favor, obviously, of Houston in Houston.
That's correct.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. My brain's telling me to take Miami, but my heart's telling me for some reason to take Houston. Maybe after the bye and everything. You know what? Go ahead and I feel like Houston has yet to really get it together since Stephon Diggs was gone. Maybe this is the week they finally look like a team that can contend for the playoff spot. So go and give me Houston here.
Yeah, I like Houston.
I
like Houston coming off the bye. Nico Collins getting healthier and healthier. The Dolphins just really unimpressive last week against the Jets. So we're going to take the Texans -3 in this one at home. All right, we'll save our game for last. We got Bills at Lions, an unbelievable game. A lot of people, if you had to guess, would say Super Bowl preview based off of how good those teams have looked. Detroit is 2.5-point favorites at home.
What do you got, Hamby? You go first.
All right, I'll start. I'm just going to take the home team. I try not to overthink some of these things. I always try to side with the home team. Home team always that is a huge thing for me. So I'll take the Lions. If it was +3.5 or -3.5, it might be a different story. But if you're giving me -2.5 and a field goal gives me a win, I'll take the home team. Give me Detroit.
Yeah, I'll go ahead here next. I'm taking Detroit. Actually, yeah, I'll say it. I'm taking Detroit as well. I just think Detroit at home. I can't pick against Dan Campbell until he gives me a reason not to pick against him, and he hasn't given me a reason yet. So go and give me Detroit at home.
Yeah, they're on some kind of roll. I mean, I think they're the team right now you just don't bet against. They're going to find a way to win. Hamby, what's next?
All right, we got Seahawks are 2.5-point underdogs at home against Green Bay. Right, and picking a Seahawks game all year is giving everybody fits, but they've won 4 in a row, and you're getting them as a home underdog. Brent, that's enough to take them over the Packers.
That's wild that they've won 4 in a row. I would have thought they went 2-2 in that stretch because it feels like they have a good week and a bad week, good week and a bad week, good week and a bad week. And last week was a good week over Arizona. Packers are playing really good football right now, though.
They are.
I like the Packers, man. I think Packers are playing excellent football at the moment. I'm going to take the Packers on the road. I don't trust Seattle, Austin.
Yeah, I don't trust Seattle either. They could beat Green Bay by 50, or they might get lose by 20. I have no idea how to pick this game. I mean, a part of me wants to say, okay, if you stop Josh Jacobs, they're gonna, Seattle's gonna win. But they've shown when Josh Jacobs gets stopped that Jordan Love can step up and win with a bunch of receivers I've never heard of before. But I'm going to leave it up to Hamby. I'm going to take Seattle with the 12th man. I don't know how they get it done because I don't know. Does Geno throw for 300 yards or, does whoever they have, Charbonnet, which sounds like a sparkly drink, run for 200 yards? So I have no idea, but I'm taking Seattle.
Yeah, Seahawks are 8-5, but they haven't beaten a good team all year. Their best wins were against the Falcons and the Cardinals. Maybe if you want to throw in the Dolphins, when they play good teams, they've gotten routed. Give me the Packers.
Okay.
So the Packers will be our pick there. Last but not least, obviously, we pretty much already know exactly how we're going to pick this game because we pick them every single week. Jags are +3 at home. I'm taking the home underdog every time. Give me the Jags.
Oof. Austin?
I'm not going to say anything, Jets. I don't want to get into it. Just this is strictly business, Jets. You just lost Evan Engram now? That hurts.
Here's the deal. I had a feeling last week I could see how they won. This one, I actually think the Jets are playing good football right now, for them, but they're not winning games, but the Jags aren't winning games either. So I think the team playing better football is actually the Jets the last few weeks. And I'm going to throw one more thing at you, and I stole this from Lagerman.
I know. Sunshine and rainbows. Unbelievable.
Last 7 starts going back to New England, Mac Jones has averaged 10.6 points per game, a Mac Jones-led offense. The Jags, this is my own stat now, the Jags have scored more than 21 points in a game 4 times out of the last 17. The Jets are scoring 20-plus right now. The Jags can't get there. They can't get there. And so I think you have to take the Jets. Logic says you got to take the Jets here. And they're going to win the football game. And honestly, on paper, the way they're healthy versus the Jags, they're actually the better team on paper right now, maybe by a lot.
Yeah.
Taking the Jets.
Oh, wow. I can't believe it.
All right.
Why are you so disappointed in that, Hamby?
Never thought I'd see the day.
It seems like every week you and I pick the Jags and they cover somehow, and Austin picks the opposing team, and that other team looks like they're going is full in control and wins, but we backdoor cover or find a way to cover, and we've been paying our rent on the Jags covering in the last 6 weeks.
You know what's funny is
than Detroit.
I think I went back and forth. I'm going back and forth on this so much that I might have, like when I do Jaguars.com and I do the final analysis, I might have been like, yeah, I think the Jags are going to find a way to win this one too. And then by this morning, that's like 12 hours ago when I did that. And like today, I'm like, yeah, I don't really think so. So I just
at least you stay consistent, Brent.
I know. I'm just picking either way. But hey, listen, there's nothing on the line in the final analysis. It's okay. Yeah. There's something on the line here. We got to make sure. We got to make sure we win this thing. In the first year, playing against Miller and Moulton, playing against Young and Norvell show, and playing against the No Name show and Casey Kurtz. So we are in the lead. Hopefully we'll stay that way. All right, you guys are going to finish up the show. I got to run back up to the Fortegra High School 912 Invitational, so we'll do that. We'll leave Best Bet St. Augustine. Just want to remind folks about Best Bet. The table games clockwork cash out promotion is back. Had a lot of great success with it in October and November, so why don't you join the party in Orange Park and St. Augustine right here at this location, 13th and 14th, meeting today and tomorrow, 6 p.m. until 12 a.m. They're going to give away $300 every 15 minutes at the table game. So you could be a winner just for sitting at the table and playing without even winning a hand. 12 days for Christmas. That is happening right now until the 23rd. $1,200 to $2,300 given away every 60 minutes, and select hours win a card player cruise, and the money will even go up as we get closer to Christmas. So a lot to win here just by playing at Best Bet St. Augustine, and don't forget Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park as well. Brent and Austin show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network from St. Augustine to Tampa to back up in Jacksonville rolls on right after this. Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt.
And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m.
A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, and you're looking at a live empty room in the Action Sports Jax 24/7 studios as Austen and I finish things up over this last couple minutes, and oh boy, Austen has some reacting to do because
Can you hear me, Hamby?
yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Did you see what just came down?
What came down, like in the news?
In honestly, probably the last 5 minutes. I'm hoping you didn't see it, so I can get
Hamby,
your.
Because here's why. Because my phone was, first of all, I have no idea what was going on today, so I don't know. I had to close out the show, dude. Am I super dark to you? I'm sorry if I am.
No, you're
This is what we
chilling.
get right now.
You're chilling.
Okay. So cell phone was getting ready to die. I thought I could just come on for a quick segment. We get out. How's the weigh-in? Good. Okay. Bill Belichick, whatever. See ya. Didn't know Brent was leaving. Didn't check the email. Had to worry about weigh-ins. Cool. So phone's getting ready to die. Go back to the room. Gonna do the show from the room. Can't do it in the room because one of my teammates is sleeping. Don't want to wake him up. Trying to be courteous. So where am I right now? Well, I'll take you behind the scenes real quick, Hamby. 1 second. So I kind of keep it quiet too. Can you still see? Okay.
Yep.
So I snuck in to where the weigh-ins were going down, and now I'm just with a bunch of people who are wondering, what is this dude doing in here? But hey, man, I do it for the love of the show. So if I get kicked out of here, just expect someone to come and say, hey, can you please leave? And then we'll take this show mobile. But right now, for the next, hopefully, 15 minutes, we're going to be okay.
All right,
so that's what I'm going through right now.
Well, the dedication is appreciated on days that we've seemingly struggled with connection. Yours is great, so we're going to take that all day. I'm here to tell you that Devin Williams is no longer on your baseball team.
Huh?
I'm here to tell you that Devin Williams is no longer on your baseball team. Devin Williams has been traded.
What's up, dude? How we doing, man? No, I'm just doing a show. We're all good. Yeah, I got 15 minutes. That's cool. All right, cool. I appreciate you. Thank you. Devin Williams is no longer on the Milwaukee Brewers.
No, he's not. He's on the New York
Traded
Yankees.
him, right? Or did he get in trouble?
He's on the Yankees.
What? I'm done. Okay, Hamby, close the show out, please. I'm done.
You
I
want
have to take a walk.
Oh no, it gets worse. You know who you
Who
got?
they get for him? Is that what we're gonna say next?
Nestor Cortez.
Who? I don't know who that is.
The mustache guy who has the funky delivery, the left-handed pitcher.
Oh God. Yeah, I know who he is. Straight up or money too? Money? Farm system dudes?
As of right now, it just says straight up.
It's funny because there's a UFC worker here. He didn't come to tell me anything, but there's a guy I gotta go find because he's probably a bigger Brewers fan than I am. So I want to pick his brain about this because I literally had no idea this just went down. So they traded Devin Williams for Nestor Cortez straight up.
And Caleb Durbin, so a minor leaguer that y'all get in return as well.
So here's the thing. You're throwing a lot at me right now. It's been a long day trying to make sure my teammates get in the way cutting. So it was funny because when they traded Josh Hader away, to San Diego at the time, all the Brewers fans were like, I can't believe that he's the best closer in the game. And well, I was always under the impression like, listen, you're not going to re-sign him. You might as well get something for him.
Right.
And I get he's at the time probably the best closer, but like it's just we're a small market. You can't afford him. I understood. And you know what I said? And go back and look at my tweets. I said, who cares? We still have the airbender. Like we still have Devin Williams. He'll fill that role and it was fine. So I didn't panic. So then, Devin Williams does his thing, obviously, against the Mets when it mattered the most. He threw one ball, home run, cost the whole season for the Milwaukee Brewers. But, hey, sometimes it be like that, right? Still had love for Devin Williams. Excited for this season. Traded him away. Now, what am I thinking? Like, oh, well, at least you have – hey, panic mode.
Yeah.
Panic mode. Going to go to the bar, order 3 shots of whatever, and drown my sorrows. Because now – I am a little unkiltered, let's just say. That's crazy, Hamby. What do you make of it? I mean, obviously you follow baseball. What do you make of it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, who is Caleb Durbin? He's a second baseman and third baseman in the minors who just set the Arizona Fall League record for stolen bases. He was the AZL's breakout player this time around. He was just added to the Yankees 40-man roster. So this guy says his versatility gives the Brewers plenty of options to shift either Joey Ortiz or Bryce Durant to shortstop to replace the departed Willie Adames. So
yeah, because they're not going to re-sign him, obviously.
He already signed with the Giants.
I know. No, yeah.
Yeah. So as of off of one tweet, Caleb Durbin looks like a exciting potential player, but Nestor Cortez, I mean, holy cow, it couldn't have ended worse for him.
I mean, here's the thing, Hamby. So the Milwaukee Brewers can take a bunch of misfits from different teams, put them on their team, and you can get the best out of them.
Yeah.
So obviously they see something in Cortez to go, you know what, like we can take this guy and we can do something with him, and that's fine. But my issue with it is, okay, and you get a young prospect through the Yankees organization, the Brewers could probably get something out of him too, cool. But you did the same thing with Devin Williams where you developed him, and he can do things that no other closer can do, and now you essentially just trade him for, straight up, if you will.
Right.
It hurts, Hamby.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter says that y'all got fleeced.
Yeah, and then Twitter should agree with that. But Twitter also said that the Brewers got fleeced when they traded Josh Hader, and I knew that wasn't the case. But I'm not as confident this go around with Williams leaving. And like honestly, like in terms of like star power, like that was one of like your household names in Milwaukee. Like if you follow baseball, you know who the airbender is. And yeah, man, thank you for rooting the whole weekend. I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. And not only that is he not on the Brewers, but he also goes to the Yankees, who are taking the $760 million that they offered Soto, because you know that they're going to extend him ASAP, probably.
Yeah,
yeah.
A team that I always, respected and cheered for as a child was never raised to hate against the evil empire, if you will. Yeah. I mean, literally, the only thing worse I can think of is when Craig Counsell went to the Cubs, but that actually worked out well for everybody as well.
That did.
But yeah, this one hurts, Andy. Hurts me right in my soul.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I had to break that news to you.
It's all good, man.
But,
and we're sure this happened. Like, this wasn't this was a verified tweeter and everything.
Every single verified dude has put out their own separate tweet about it. So,
all right. Well, I can't wait to get on Twitter and read the comments, man. That'll
be bad.
That'll be interesting.
Yep. All right. So we got 5 more minutes. What is your night? What does the rest of your day look like out there in Tampa?
Yeah. Well, so before we I got to tell you a story too. But so tonight are like the official weigh-ins. So I'll be there, with my teammate, the guy I'm cornering. I want to say we got to leave the hotel like around 3:30, but it's cool though because literally like where he's fighting, it's like a walking distance. It's like probably a quarter of a mile away from our hotel. So super convenient, beautiful weather here in Tampa Bay. So gonna do the official weigh-ins, grab some dinner, man, and like the hard part's over really. Like making weight is definitely the hard part. He did that. We're very proud of him. Now it's time to go have some fun. All the haze in the barn, if you will, to echo coach speak. Went to the Tampa Bay Aquarium yesterday, Hamby. You ever been to the Tampa Bay Aquarium?
Have not. Have been to Atlanta's, but not Tampa's.
Okay, so I've been to Tampa like twice, and each time I don't remember it because, your boy had some barley pops, right? Your boy was at Gasparilla acting like a pirate, just trying to get my Johnny Depp on a little bit. Don't remember much of the evenings, but nevertheless, this is really my first time in Tampa, kind of being a tourist. So I was like to check out, whether it's like an art museum, whether it's like just a cool thing about the city. I Google it, everything comes back. Gotta check out the Florida Aquarium. It's in Tampa. All right, say no more. So we go to the Florida Aquarium. Huge, magnificent. I wouldn't quite put it on Atlanta's level, but it's still huge and fun nonetheless. They had an exhibit where it was a giant, and I say giant, snapping turtle, and then a giant alligator that were like living like by each other, like hanging out with each other. And then the lady there, because they're so friendly there, so like they give us all the information. She's like, yeah, so these two don't interact at all because there's a mutual respect. The gator won't go after the snapping turtle because, well, its shell, its bite, it would probably actually take out the gator or at least give it a pretty good fight. And she said that the gator understood that. And she goes, the snapping turtle doesn't go after the gator because, well, it's a little slower and it kind of just keeps to itself. They're more creatures that just kind of, stay to themselves. All right, cool. So we kind of just watch it. We couldn't really see the snapping turtle. She said, you can't really see the snapping turtle ever. He's kind of in the corner in his shell, doesn't really move that much, just chills. Cool. Saw the gator. We move on, right? So we go through about an hour. We come back where we started from, and we walk past the gator and the snapping turtle again. And no one's by it now. So the lady that was like talking is no longer there. So I look over, I see like, oh, the snapping turtle's starting to move a little bit slowly, but moving. And it's moving towards the gator.
No way.
And I'm like, oh, okay, this is crazy. It keeps moving towards the gator. I'm like, okay, I thought they don't interact or anything. So then at this point, I'm like, do we need to get somebody? Hammy, I kid you not. The snapping turtle, like, headbutted the gator and then went underneath it. I have a picture too, and we'll talk about it more on Monday because we're getting right around time here. But the snapping turtle crawled like under the gator and was like bullying it. And at this point, I'm like, it's about to go down because your boy sees a lot of animal videos, and he knows how the story ends.
He's a connoisseur.
I'm like, it's about to go down. So I'm like, should we get somebody? So I'm like raising my hand, like trying to wave for somebody to come over here. So the girl that was talking to us, that was like running the exhibit, she comes back over here and she just casually walks in. She's like, yeah, I can help you. I'm like, hey, is this supposed to happen? And she looks and she goes, oh my God. I go, what? And she's like, I've never seen this before. I go, well, what do we do? Like, what do we do? Do we hop in? And she's like, no, just let them, So, dude, they cuddle. So the snapping turtle gets under the gator, and the gator's on top of the snapping turtle, and they just lay there for like 3 minutes. And then the snapping turtle stood up, and then the gator just moved. Like, totally got bullied out of his spot.
Wow.
But the lady said, like, in my 10 years of working here, I've never even seen them interact, let alone, like, be by each other, cuddle or whatever, and then have the turtle headbutt the gator before the gator walked away. So it was insane. And I have a picture of it, and I'll share with you later.
You saw history.
I saw history, man. I was a part of history. I'm surprised, I'm surprised Action, Sports Jacks or Action News Jacks didn't pick it up or anything. But yeah, it was a sight to behold, to say the least.
Holy cow! I wish I could have seen that lady's reaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to lie. Don't get your hopes up when I send you the picture, over the weekend or on Monday, because obviously I have an iPhone 8. Little grainy, little grainy photo. Didn't really do a good job of taking the photo. Can't really see a lot, but you get the gist of it.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Adventures in Tampa with Austen Lane.
Adventures in Tampa, man.
I love it. Look, we got 30 seconds here, so I'm going to wrap us up. Any last words before we get out of here?
No, man. Yeah, Jacksonville. If you want to watch a fight, my teammate's gonna be fighting around 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Check your local listings, but support him. He's a great dude. Gonna be a great performance. Can't wait.
There we go. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all watching. We got full basketball action today. Action Sports Jacks 2, 4, 6, and 8. Happy Friday, everybody.